Hi, I'm Leather Rock. Welcome to my channel, and I am live. It is now the witching hour. I tried to time this as close to midnight as possible. It is now 12:19 Eastern Daylight Time. I am in Atlantic City. You're probably not. You're lucky. Let me sit down on this. I have to do this kind of carefully because I'm sharing a chair with my expansion drive. I'm trying to keep that plugged in so to make it easier to back up my videos. You probably figured out that I've been having some computer problems again. My screen went absolutely black a couple days ago, and I had to call the only person I know locally who knows computers, and I definitely trust him because I've known him a long time. And he said he'd be over in a couple of days. In a couple of hours, he figured out what was well, if he didn't figure out what was wrong with it, he at least figured out how to rectify the problem. And he showed me what it is he did. I hope it doesn't happen again. What happened was I had a few tabs open, as you usually do, and uh, I'm trying to read your Savitri. Love the look tonight. That top is super cute. Thank you. This is some kind of an Asian shirt of some kind. If you could see, it has the frog closures the knots that you loop around, and but it's bigger than I would have liked, so I had to tie it up. But I just literally found this yesterday, and it was the only thing that I saw that was cute and that I thought would fit me. And I donated a whole bag of my clothes, by the way. I had some stuff that was just too big, and I had it sitting in my hallway. And when I saw that there was a church that was had a table out and had a whole bunch of clothes for people to dig through, I just dropped my clothes off. And a few people liked some of the things that I had. But then it started to rain, and they dropped all the clothes off in a pile up the street. And now it's a soaking wet pile of clothes. Now, I'll still dig through. If I was walking around someplace and I found a wet pile of clothes, unless it was filthy, dirty, scummy, and I mean like uh, diaper dirty, I'd still probably dig through it because you never know what you're going to find. I found those beautiful Indian clothes one day in the rain in a pile, and they were wet. And I wasn't even sure exactly what they were, except I thought the colors were beautiful. And I thought that um, let me at least wash this and get it dry and clean, and let me see if I can do anything with it. And this skirt, I was looking for something to wear with this because I packed away a lot of my clothes, partly because I just want to get the hell out of this, partly because I want to protect it from the mice and other vermin, partly because I really want to consolidate all my things so out of here I won't have a lot of amount of skirts that I usually have that I would have in rotation. I have 50 or 60, or I don't know. I don't I honestly don't know because I don't get rid of things unless it's falling apart or if it's getting so large because the elastic is broken. If I can't use a drawstring or something to make it work, then I may regift it. And if it really looks tore up, then I may actually throw it out. But my mother has used make you can make cleaning cloths out of pieces of fabric, especially light colored cotton, you know. But really, this matter of fact, this was originally a slip at the dollar store. I don't know how many years ago, and it was a longish slip, and I wanted to make it something that was a practical uh, length for me. Because before that, what it was is I would hook it, I would safety pin it to the bottom of my bra so that I would end up with what looked like a dress, and I would just put a shirt on top of it. That's what I used to do. But when I took a drawstring, I made holes in it. I cut this off. This is actually what the original hem was. I made holes in it. I just put a drawstring through this skirt, and because it's flexible, I can untie it and I can make it a little higher or a little lower. Like if I think it's starting to show too much derriere, I could lower midriff as I want. So, but I was struggling with something to pair it with because I didn't want to put it with black, and I didn't want to wear it with white. And I don't. I try not to wear things that are too similar too close together with my videos, but it's really hard to plan for that because I batch produce my content. And what I just posted a couple of hours ago, I actually shot over a week ago. So as much as I try to vary my outfits and the colors you see after each other, what you end up seeing, I don't know, because I don't often post in order. When things happen abruptly in my life that I think warrant me making a video about, I may fast track that video next. Like when the gas leak happened, for instance, that was obviously had not been created. So I was going to put another cat video or a travel video or a mouse video or something. But when that happened, I recorded that right away and I posted that in lieu of what I was going to post that day. So the great thing about having a channel where you don't have a narrow niche and it just has your name on it is you can really post anything you want. And if life dictates, because circumstances in your life, something happens or you witness something, or maybe there's a really big important thing on the news that everybody's talking about, then that might warrant a special video. And especially news type videos, I think it's important to have them as recent as possible. Man, I wanted to go live today. I really did. And I think midnight's kind of a good kind of time to go. I really wanted to, I'm trying not to talk about subjects that I'm planning to make videos about because I don't want to ruin that. But I just, yes, this has been a kind of a rough week for different reasons. And not starting with, but including our mail carrier. I was expecting a package yesterday, and nobody was not home except for the bad roommate who was still at the hotel, right? My mother and I were both here, and we were both awake during the time of the delivery. And I go and I checked the mailbox yesterday. There was no mail at all. I checked the mailbox today. I saw the pink slip, and I showed it to my mother, and we're grumbling. And she says, "Oh, the date is on for Friday, yesterday." And I'm thinking, we have a doorbell. How hard can it be to ring the doorbell? I have written inside our mailbox, please do not drop pink slips off. Somebody is always home. Please ring the doorbell. And here's an arrow pointing toward the doorbell. Our apartment is the only one here that has a doorbell. Even the idiots downstairs don't have a doorbell. There is no reason why somebody cannot ring the doorbell. And so the mail carrier today, he said, "Oh, I was there. I really was. And I rang it. As a matter of fact, and I went and dropped something off across the street, and I came back and I rang it. And there's nobody responded." And it's like we were home. She was home watching TV, whatever. I was here probably watching one of those. I love those YouTube motivation videos where they have nice music in the background and they talk. They give inspiring speeches and including quotes by famous philosophers and different things. And it's designed to cheer you up and make you feel better about yourself and motivate you to keep on going. And I consume that content. I consume the subliminals and the affirmations and I sleep with those things that are supposed to hypnotize you back into feeling you're worthy of success and money and this and that. And part of that reason is because the other roommate, our relationship, he's a family member, and we don't get along. Honestly, we just don't get along, and sometimes people who don't like each other, sometimes there's potential for cruelty and emotional abuse, and just things are not good. And I was so happy for the week with him gone. But one of the things that happened that I really just disgusted about, and I shouldn't be bothered by this because words are just words, right? My mother needed me to go with her to the bank a couple days ago. And my mother is not very ambulatory. She walks with a walker. It has a chair built in. And she walks very slow. She's 83 years old. What do you expect? She has arthritis pain. She has a heart condition. So she's walking real slow with this walker, which she needed me to retrieve from her. And the walker was stored in the other roommate's office. It's a room next to his room. And I'm explicitly not allowed in either his room or his office. And frankly, I don't have any reason to be in them, so I don't really care. He's, whatever. But the problem is the office is also where some important family things are stored, such as some of my mother's baby pictures that were made when they painted pictures. Uh, they used to do a tinting process because picture photography was only black and white. But you could actually have them tinted so that like babies can have red lips, and they did it for special occasions. And anyway, my mother has some there. It's even in a round and oval frame, and the glass is actually curved. It's interesting. I don't know what you call that frame, but anyway, they're in that room. If anything were to happen to my mother, I have to go in there. Well, the person he was in a hotel, and my mother needed her walker, and she could not go through all the stuff he had in there to get it. She is 83 and she's heavy, and so she said, "Why?" She gave me permission to go in and get this walker. She could not make the trip to the bank or whatever without the walker, so she sent me in there. And when I went in there was a very vile, disgusting, nasty note directed addressed to me left in there. I'm not going to read you what it said, but it had the foul language that is usually associated with street prostitutes and people who are very debased, depraved, disgusting, low life people. And anyway, it was addressed to me and said, "Stay out of here, out of this room, you blah blah blah." And so I took this off, and these are nothing I haven't heard before, and it's nothing that he hasn't been telling me for the past 30 something years. Lady Voldy, hi. I should bring those reading glasses so that I can fucking read the chat room. My vision is really not good, and it's been kind of a long day. I'm so glad I'm able to talk to you, everybody. When my computer went on the fritz, and I had no way to contact anybody. I couldn't make money on the internet things that you can do. I couldn't do anything. I was so grateful that at least I could watch YouTube videos on my TV. That's one thing I was grateful for, and there was still a landline. I was able to make phone calls if I wanted to. But anyway, getting back to the mail delivery thing, the mailman says that he rang the doorbell, rang it. Nobody, it must not have worked. And it's like, don't tell me that nobody was home. Don't tell me it didn't work. And four different people rang the doorbell today. Hi, Char. Four different people rang my doorbell today. That doorbell works. Even when it was raining, it worked. At one time, we had a doorbell that got wonky during the rain. That's the biggest excuse people give when electronics don't work. If the cable's on the fritz, if the signal goes in and out, my mother always blames it on the weather. If it's windy, if it's rainy, always blames it. The audio picks it up and people playing the kid. Okay, thank you. That was my maternal unit. She wanted to know why the fan was running in the hallway. And actually, the reason why it is because when the fan is running in here, which I often have to blot out the ghetto noise, then it interferes with the audio, which means you guys have a hard time hearing unless I yell. And especially if I go back so you can see what all the fun fashion I'm wearing, the fan made it so you couldn't hear me. But anyway, she's walking down the hall and she's wondering what the fan was up. And I told her, I said, she says, "Why don't you turn it off?" I said, "If I turn it off, I won't be able to turn it on again." Because what happens, it takes a long time to turn on, that it makes a squealing sound. And there's no way I could film a video when it's squealing. I mean, it squeals for a good 5 or 10 minutes. Now, of course, she says the solution is the WD-40. And you know what? She's probably right. But do I feel like dealing with it now? No. Uh, See, the thing with them I don't like is it rips the hair out of my braids. And plus, these are ugly as all get out. I mean, I know people are nice and polite about it, but you see, it rips my hair out. Uh, but I decided I wanted to make sure the bracelets went with the clothes, and I tried to I found the perfect eyeshadow color to match the top, right? Which would a close one would have been this one right here from the Back to Brazil palette by B&H Cosmetics. But underneath it, I used a dark blue cream eyeshadow, and that was a mistake. That made it so that I tried so hard to cover it with that bluish green color, and it ended up looking a lot more blue than I wanted it to. So I had to add a touch of a different green just on the edge. And then, anyway, unless you're a makeup freak, you probably don't want to hear all that talk. But anyway, I had to do it to look decent. So, oh, I want to show off. Since we're talking fashion, I'm wearing way too much jewelry. I don't care. Uh, this pendant that I really love that was given to me recently that shows the chakras. I would have to really take a look at it to figure out what the semi-precious stones are. I know amethyst is in there. I know clear quartz is in there. Probably jade or something like that is in there. I don't know. Maybe tiger eye. Maybe carnelian. Uh, oh, this is a lab-grown ruby, by the way, and it's given me by my BFF. It's set in silver. This ring here is sterling silver. She found it on the street or something. She gave it to me years ago. The only reason why I'm mentioning that is because all my other rings, with one exception, are cheap rings from Wish that are totally cheap metal that you cover with clear nail polish to hope it doesn't tarnish. So all this stuff, dollar store stuff, dollar store stuff. Now, which is good, but the only thing is that if people don't know it's real, you still got to worry about being mugged, maybe. Like when I go to LA, I think I'm gonna do this with my rings. I'm not gonna be really wearing a lot of stuff. I'm not gonna be wearing a lot of stuff that I love though, because every time I go, I see people from my past or whatever, and they always want to do like a jewelry exchange and things. And I might be wearing things that I really love. Like I tend to wear a lot of my spiked and studded leather, and I wear a lot of collars with the studs and a lot of wristbands and a lot of belts and stuff. When I take the Greyhound, I usually, to make going through security easier, I usually wear all my studded leather on my hips. That's a great thing about taking the buses. You don't have the metal problems that you have with airplane. And I don't know about Amtrak because I haven't taken the train since the 90s. They require ID just like the planes do, so that's not an option for me. I mean, if I could, my mother thinks I might possibly have all the documents to actually get ID. If I could get it out here soon while my hair is still purple, I feel like my hair has been fading and I don't wash it. It is just so beyond frustrating why this happens. And the thing is, I went to beauty school. I shouldn't be having questions about hair. The only thing I can think of is that it's so porous from all the years of bleaching it and the heat treatment that I don't really do consistently, even though I'm waiting on a crimping iron from either Wish or Timu. I forget. I think Timu, but and Timu is great because they don't charge shipping. And with Wish, I noticed they have this $2.99 for the whole thing, way cheaper than what the shipping used to be. The shipping was sometimes more than cost of the merchandise. But the nice thing about the electronics, though, is a lot of times the warehouse is here in the United States, so you don't have to wait that month. So many times you're waiting for things to come literally from China and other Asian countries, and it's interesting to see the postmarks on the packages. I get a kick out of that. Too bad they don't use real postage instead of stamps, because I really love stamps. And you find things coming from, I love it when they give the address of the manufacturer and you could see what specific city it is in China. And these are real places that are industrial cities that everybody almost that lives there works in these factories that might be making Christmas ornaments or cat toys or cooking utensils or makeup or whatever. They're to think about the real people that are associated with the products. And I know there's people who get on my ass for why do I support other countries when we should buy American made, but I'll tell you, I don't have the finances to stand on principle for things like that. I don't. You know? there will be a time in the future when I'll be able to spend more freely, and yes, I will do my best to do American made. When I had the only car I had was an American made car, and I was very proud of that. Of course, it didn't last long once it got stolen. Five Flames, hey, how you doing? Savitri, very nice name. I have batch recorded, so I have about, I don't know, what, 6 days of videos in the can. So, but if it's too bad that I didn't have a way to post while I didn't, while the computer was messed up. But see, that's the thing is, I have some other devices. I haven't learned how to use that yet. Yeah, I really, I do believe it's important to buy American made, and that's why I try to promote the fact that, hello, I'm an American YouTuber. I think that regardless of which parties you support, if you're all for such universal things as trying to be positive, trying to be a force for good in the world, uh, try not to do the scumbaggy things like littering and being unnecessarily violent and mean and stuff, and cruelty to animals sucks and don't do it, and just be basically not a douchebag of a human being. I think that's something we can all agree on, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, even if you're a communist. I would think you love your children, right? So, Five Flames, you're having drinks after a long week at work. Uh, One of my street buddies just gave me a couple rang my doorbell, gave me a fat roach this big, and I cooled it. It was wet because I smoked it crumb by crumb, and I smoked it all. And while I can't say I'm stoned, it took the edge off my attitude because I was really stressed out about a bunch of whole things, and I really wasn't thinking with clear perspective. I was not getting enough sleep, and I woke up with, I did get a little bit of sleep last night, and I woke up with leg cramps. Oh my God. This keeps on happening to me. And if you've never had leg cramps, consider yourself happy and lucky. I don't know how many hours I was asleep. It wasn't that long. Started from my ankle, okay, went up to about here. I felt like my muscle was a rubber band, and I felt like a grappling hook was taking it and pulling it like a medieval torture device. That's how it felt. And I get up, I hobble out, I keep my sneakers down so I could step on them, right? Because I treat them like sneakers. I mean, like slippers. I hobbled to my mother's bedroom. I don't know what time it was. It was dark. She actually had the TV off. She usually watches the TV the wee hours. She was asleep. The lights was out and everything. And I jumped. I didn't jump on her bed, but I told her, I was like, or however, and woke her up out of a sound sleep. And that was not right to do. But it's like, and she's like, said to sit down in the bed, and I'm moving me close to her, and she's massaging my leg and whatever. And she's offered me uh, aspirin before, but that doesn't do any good. Even when you chew aspirin, I'll chew aspirin if I think I'm having heart attack symptoms. Okay, and I understand aspirin can prevent heart attacks. It thins the blood and all that stuff. Even though some people can't take it, and if you're on blood thinners, you probably shouldn't take it. But some people take a little bit every day. Whatever. Uh, but that I learned, I did. So, I've been doing a lot of research on Google on leg cramps, and I did find out that another name for leg cramps is Charlie horse. And it's interesting. My dad, when I was a little girl, he used to talk about a thing called Charlie horse, and I thought he was joking with me because my father loved horses, and he used to hang around jockeys, and he wanted to be a jockey so bad. He used to take me to the racetrack when I was little, and he used to take me back where the horses were. And to his credit, I never saw him with a gaming slip. I never saw him with a cocktail, not at the track anyway. But he showed me the horses, and the veterinarian rebandaging their legs and stuff. I didn't get to pet them, I don't think. But so I have some very fond memories of that. Kev, hey. Uh, and these leg cramps have been happening more and more. And there's probably, if there's a lifestyle thing, I'm probably malnourished, partly because my history of taking multivitamins, they make me sick to my stomach unless I eat a shitload of food. And I'm so afraid of the fat thing that I don't eat enough to keep them from making me sick to my stomach. And I like to be around 105, 106 pounds. Okay. And that's usually where I've been. But lately, because of all the junk food, my diet has been absolute shit. I put on some weight. Between you, me, and the fence, I put on a good 10, 11, 12 pounds. You know, people pinch an inch. I got a little gut now. I don't like it. I mean, it's not all days, but anyway, I'm really out of shape and I'm really not happy. And I know all I got to do is go back to working out. There's no excuse. Even though we don't get my favorite channel that has Gilad. He's this Jewish guy that either he's working out in Israel or he's working out in Hawaii. And I got turned on to his videos, and I was really getting hardcore where I was working out 5 days a week. Whenever I saw it on TV, if it was, even if I come home from the club and they started with these videos at 6 o'clock in the morning, I would force myself to do the boxing and the running in place. And but when you're dead dog ass tired running in place, and you be running into walls and hurting yourself, that's not fun. Let me tell you. But I think that I would feel better about myself if I got back into that. I mean, I had a six pack. I was hard. I was muscly, though I got a little grouchy because a girl works out hard, even if she's a girl, and I'm a girl. Hello, you work out hardcore. You do increase your testosterone, and you do get bitchy. And I was told I was grumpy. You know, yeah, but my earlier those workout videos uh, were a lot better. Like I had the delts, those real nice indentations in the back. You ever see in men, especially when they V out? It, oh, it just, I'm not necessarily a fan of huge, big bulging muscles, but some nice definition is really nice. Like drummers. Drummers have nice arms. You know what chick has nice arms? Michelle Obama. You guys know she does. I always noticed that about her. I'm able to, regardless of how I feel about somebody's politics, I could set that aside and I could say, you got a pretty face, you dress nice, I liked your hairstyle, whatever. I could say real nice things about our current first lady too, Jill, uh, Dr. Biden. She's a nice looking lady. I have no problem with. I'm not going to go be mean about people. Who's a nice looking lady? Martha Raddatz, the news lady for ABC News. I don't think that's the only news outlet that she's on. But if you ever watch David Muir, which I watch some of the things my mother watches just to be in the same room with her, even though my mom, she watches The View weekdays, and they're very, very, very Trump hating and very, very, very liberal. And I like it when they talk about abortion because I'm pro-choice. Okay, but when sometimes they get into they're like sharks smelling the blood in the water, and they get on all about Trump and how all Letitia is so happy that maybe they're going to get Trump's property up in New York City and all this stuff. And meanwhile, half the country is just wants to throw up. I'm starting to think about those $400 sneakers. Well, would that take care of if we all bought a pair of those $400 gold Trump sneakers? Would that take care of Trump's real estate problems and get him elected? I mean, that's the thing, because if you buy something that doesn't even help him, you know, not saying that I would go buy those sneakers. What if they're made of that? If you remember, go-go boots have that plastic covering, that real fragile PVC, real fragile plastic material that you could scratch and fray off so easily. And I wouldn't want to spend $400 on something that had a coating that would scratch off. I'd be pissed off because $400. I've never spent that kind of money on footwear. The most I ever spent on a pair of footwear, I got a pair of stripper heels, paid $80 for in Hollywood. They had a real high platform and they had a real high stiletto heel and you ankle strap, and they were open toed, comfortable shoes. Right? Took them with me to Phoenix, Arizona. I had, leaving Bad Boyfriend #1, right? And I was auditioning because the thing about Phoenix clubs there, they expect you to tip out. That means they expect you to give 10% of your tips to somebody, their head bartender, the bunny manager, whatever the hell. Plus the DJ probably expects something, then the doorman expects something, right? Well, I went out there. As soon as we got out there, the city buses went on strike, and our housing fell through too. I went out with some chick from LA. There was another dancer, and anyway, so what we did was we went to dance clubs during the audition nights. In your audition, you don't have to tip out, and you couldn't save any money there because you had to take taxis everywhere, and you had to sleep in hotels. And between taxis, hotels, and food, everything you made dancing, uh, you know. And then if you happen to have a habit of any kind, and my friend and I both had a little taste for the go fast, even though I don't remember us ever spending any money on it when we were in Arizona, because first of all, you know that kind of money, everything should be for free. I believe that. Especially if you really don't have money, certain things should be free. And I think we here in America are very lucky that there are food banks and things to help people who are struggling with paying bills, or if all your money's going to bills and there's no money left over for food. Thank goodness for food banks. And what about people like my mother who are not ambulatory? She can't walk around. She can't. She has this walker she has to get used to walk around, and so she doesn't go out and listen to medical thing. If she eats, which believe me, she does, she eats because I bring the food in. Occasionally, the other roommate, if he's getting a pizza from 7-Eleven or whatever, he'll give her a slice or something. But other than that, I bring the food in. I bring the food in. I wash all the clothes, everything by hand. There's no washing machine. I am the washing machine. You know what that does to the hands and the arms, the squeezing and things? I mean, sometimes the hot water is good for aches and pains, but other times clenching, that does not feel good. But I guess I'd rather have pain in my hands and my ankles, because if it would interfere with something like dancing, that was really what drove me back to music. Was when I thought I couldn't dance anymore, because I found out that I got an arthritis diagnosis in both my hands and my wrists, and that made me grapple with the possibility that I might not be able to identify as a dancer. And when something that you love so much is such a part of your identity, and the chance it could be taken away, that was very destabilizing and very disheartening, really bummed me out. And so I figured, well, if my ankles and my feet aren't working, then maybe my hands are working. And I got this compulsion to get back into music. And then when I broke this finger running for the doorbell because of package issues, and I had this serious compulsion to write, even though this hand was in a cast, and I had to write left-handed, and that's not easy if you're writing out your dominant hand. That's not easy at all. But of course, you have to do everything with your non-dominant hand, from feed yourself to wipe yourself to put your makeup on to dress yourself. You have to do these things because you have no choice. Matter of fact, when I went to get the hand, I thought that they would set me and treat me right away, but no, I went to an urgent care thing, and they looked at it and they x-rayed it, and I made an appointment, and it was like 2 weeks before I was able to actually have it set. And actually, I had to have a surgeon do everything to put this together. If I've stuck this in x-ray, and somewhere I have the x-ray, I've probably shown this in other videos, it looks like a chainmail kind of body piercing. It goes up here. But the thing is, this does not straighten out, and I don't think it ever will. So, might make playing piano difficult. I've never really tried piano except picking things out, and I wonder if that would screw it up for me. But anyway, I'm rambling. Uh, but I like to wear my cute little things, and this is talisman. Is actually the seal of Mercury, and I got this on Timu or Wish, and I like that it's both on both sides, and the details include the signs of uh symbols of not the planets, yeah, the in between the points. And then in the points themselves, it looks like it may be Hebrew letters, which is not uncommon in occult talismans. And there's inscription in, I don't know if it's Theban or what, along the rim. And I still need to consecrate it. And of course, you do that on a day and hour of Mercury. And during the day of Mercury, it was a lot of upheaval in the house because that was when one of the computer issues happened. And when that screen went blank, all of a sudden I walk away for a minute, I come back, the computer screen's totally black. I couldn't tell whether the fan was running or anything because the fan here was running. When I tried pressing the button on real hard to do a hard shut off, I saw three tiny little squares, one with a check mark in it. Then they went away. And I tried draining the battery and restarting it, and it didn't work. And anyway, everything I tried didn't work. So that's when I called my friend, and he said that he'd come by in a couple of days. And anyway, he was here today, and the reason why I'm on now is because he fixed it. Oh, well, look at what she did for me. But it's so tiring being a caregiver. And I feel ashamed even saying this because I don't want to seem ungrateful. It's just, I never expected to be here this long. I was here for my father's last few years. And then when he got sick, I was glad to be here to help my mother so that she could keep on working. And her job, of course, had insurance benefits to help with my father's health care. And my being there also helped so that somebody could always be holding the fort with him when she was working. And also, she would go with him to his doctor's appointments. He ended up with cancer and Alzheimer's disease, and she would go to this hospital in Philadelphia. It's actually a fairly easy train ride. I'm here. Hi. Uh, but the thing that I don't like about when the surgeon reset it, they did whatever. I mean, I was out for whatever. Is he didn't align it 100% perfectly. It's just a tiny little bit turned this way, so the fingernail scratches this open here. And the thing is, since I play guitar, I really shouldn't be having long nails anyway. Okay. That's one thing. If I could change something about my past, all those years I was focused on having nice fingernails. And in high school, even, I was prided myself in these real long dragon nails. And it was a national disaster if I broke a nail and you have to get out the crazy glue. And it doesn't quite really work because any kind of pressure and it snaps. And so gym class, I totally was the wimp that nobody wanted on their team. Now I realize I missed out on, I imagine volleyball would be a lot of fun. I would like to do that now, but I can't be in the sun. So I'd have to find one of these midnight girls leagues on the beach or something, you know. And as long as we're all girls, nobody will get hurt, right? You know, but I can't be in the sun. But and I remember the surgery was the first surgery of the morning. My mother and I had to get up. We had to get on the city bus at 4 a.m. to get out to the hospital because the branch was not the one that was in Atlantic City. It would have been more convenient for us, but it was out because not all doctors have privileges at all hospitals. And I've heard that having earlier surgery in the day is better, more fortuitous than having later surgery. But I was not the most model patient. Well, when I first went there was this real bitch of a nurse. And I asked I like to smoke marijuana. And I was honest with the doctor because I thought to get the best healthcare, you're supposed to tell the truth. So I figured full disclosure, okay, I'm clean and sober. I don't drink alcohol. I don't do drugs, but I do enjoy marijuana. And right away, he said that this nurse got on my ass about how I need to grow up. And she's talking down to me like I'm a 2 year old. And meanwhile, hello, I'm caregiver to my mother who has all these health issues, heart issues, pain issues, tiredness issues, breathing issues. My mother gets 30% of her oxygen, and she doesn't use um, um oxygen tube or anything, but she still has problems with her breathing, and she is pretty sedentary. So I have all these household responsibilities, and instead of giving me respect for the things I no longer do because I saw that they were a disservice to my life, like drugs and alcohol, you're going to get up my ass for the one thing that I enjoy. You're going to fuck with me because I like this stuff. This is empty, by the way. I'm not going to smoke on camera today because I'm out. But, she had a real bad attitude, and I was like, I am not going to put up with her attitude. And I did the next day because I was not going to have her as my nurse. I'm not going to be treated like that. You're not going to treat a woman who's obviously, and treat her like she's stupid, like she's less than, like she is a miscreant that refuses to grow up, and therefore you could talk to her like she's two when she is older than you. And this bitch, I don't know, but anyway, I don't remember her name, but and I probably don't remember her face, but she's just a grouchy white blonde chick. But I hope I never uh, did what he did. Oh, and I have this device that, let me see if I could find it in my drawer. It actually is, oh shit. This is my expansion drive. Keeps me I like to make sure that everything that's in my computer is backed up in case the computer does something. I don't want to lose my videos. And this includes my YouTube content, because if YouTube decides to kick me off, I don't want my content on. I'm trying to find the brace. I wore it for a while and it did straighten out my didn't straighten out my finger. Try to find this, but I don't want to get my hands in mouse crap either, because they've gotten in some of these drawers, and well, I can't find it, but anyway, it's a metal thing that goes like this, and it's got padding in it, and you wear it, and it's supposed to straighten your finger out, and didn't work on me. I used this before I actually got when I wasn't sure that it was broken, but well, the reason why the surgeon, though, he told me I needed to stop smoking weed because the weed I get, I don't grow myself, and when you get things that's not from a dispensary, you don't know what might be in it. And he explained to me that because they put you under anesthesia, what if you have your weed tainted with something that would counteract or interfere with the anesthesia, and people have died from that. And since you really don't know what you're getting when it's street weed, and especially if you're picking up roaches on the street, which I was doing, which I still do, and you don't know. And I have fentanyl test strips here, but I've never tested a roach. I know I'm taking chances, but I have a feeling that people aren't going to be putting fentanyl in weed. I just can't see, especially if it's weed that they're smoking. That doesn't make any sense. And I know a thing or two about drugs, and I know a thing or two about all kinds of druggy kind of people. And especially out here, I have some, I don't know that I really want to go so far as to call them friends, but I will call them acquaintances that I talk to on the street, that if they're hungry, I feed them, I have a story for you. Just as my friend who fixed my computer was leaving, fentanyl is so scary. See, if that stuff existed, I don't know about it when I lived in LA, and I still did amphetamines and stuff, and a little bit of cocaine and stuff. If that stuff existed, it didn't then. And I knew people that made different things. They didn't put poisonous stuff in there. Not that drain cleaner and lye and all that stuff is good for you, but I'm saying it was not this shit. It's a different thing. Lady Voldy, yes, I am an empath. That's sometimes I wear hematite. That's supposed to help keep you grounded, because sometimes I can take on other people's emotions as myself. But sometimes I'm getting so stressed about things that, see, In some ways, this is not very logical. I should know better than to let my outside world affect me. I should know better that, especially since I have this practice where I use the affirmations and I work with subliminals and I play all this stuff on these YouTube videos. Like right now, I have my screen frozen. There's this creator, his name is Eddie Pinero. Yeah, Pinero is how you say his last name, how you pronounce it. Is this video says, believe in yourself, best motivational speeches. But Eddie Pinero is his name, and that's the name of his channel. They're like 1.5 hour videos. They may be even up to 3 hours. It's all this motivational talk with really beautiful visuals and nice music in the background. And I'm telling you, if you need a lift, if you need to cheer up, if you feel like you haven't amounted to anything and you're just down on yourself, watch these. They really are uplifting. I try to watch this. This is my nighttime stuff. This is when I want to reprogram myself, when I want to try to drown out the noise of decades of emotional abuse at the hands of the other roommate. You know, how would you feel if you had a family member that called you a piece of shit, cunt, bitch, whore, blah, words, and all the filthy, dirty words that are synonymous with those things that I'd rather not say? You know, even there, it's funny, there are certain words that you could say in jest that aren't offensive. Like I say the F word and the C word all the time. And I don't mean anything of it. If I say, oh, go fuck yourself, that to some people, it's not really go fuck yourself. It's go fuck yourself. It's almost like, how you doing today? And honestly, a lot of people don't always know that. And you have to be careful who you say it to because it can be taken as a real brush off. But in certain circles, it's a greeting. Some of my favorite people who greeted me like that are no longer with us because they probably drank themselves to death. But it's a street bum thing, and if you're more classy than that, you won't understand. But some people are like that. But sometimes I forget who my audience is, and I have said things to the wrong person, and I had to do some explaining. But I would rather not have to tiptoe and walk on eggshells in front of people. I would rather just say how I feel, and especially if I'm having a hard day and I'm emotionally stressing. And this week, even though I had days away from him, the roommate came back and he started first. So he opens the door and he nods, "Yes, I'm home." Then he gets mad at my mother for the fact that I went in there to retrieve her walker, which she could not have gotten it. And then he totally will not own, he has no accountability for the words of emotional abuse. He won't pay me money he owes me. He even said flat out, everybody, whenever I say I hate here and I want to leave, both he and she say, then leave. And I say, I would leave. But he needs to pay me the money he owes me. He won't do that. I mean, come on, you don't kick somebody when they're down. And that's why I keep on packing and packing, and why, even though I had some days off of him, as soon as he came home, the energy, it was just so thick, the negativity, the stress. And sometimes, when a person just stresses you out, even just to hear their voice, even if they're talking to somebody else, if you hear their voice, say they're on the phone talking to their friend, or he's in my mother's room talking to her. Oh, and then he's got a temper on him. He was talking to her on the phone, or in her room. I heard some things. I was being discussed. I went in there. I didn't knock. I went in there and I said, "Excuse me," and I said my piece. And he told me to get the fuck out of the room, and I wouldn't. And he said if I didn't get out of the room, he would push me through the wall. He's close to 6 feet tall. He weighs over 200 pounds. He finally pushed me out the door. And I mean, he did this. It didn't hurt because it was just out the door. It wasn't up against the wall. But he's got a temper and he's bipolar. And there's just so many reasons why I really want to get out of here. Did I? Uh, I hope I don't turn this off. I see on Facebook somebody is contacting me on Messenger. Maybe they did, and I want to just direct them to my Oh, oops. Okay. Um, all right. Uh, I just said hello to somebody because, and that's the first time I ever actually went when I was live streaming to all you guys. Actually, went to see the flashing that the instant messenger was on. But the thing is, I saw who it was, and it was somebody that I didn't want to ignore. Not all instant messenger uh, communiques are equal, and that was somebody that had something important to say, and I want to make sure that she felt heard. I'm so glad that I'm on tonight. It is now 1:10 a.m. Uh, and thank you. I first I thought maybe the makeup was a little over the top. Then I'm thinking, if it is, so what? I had little earrings in at first, and I took them out because I realized everything needed balance, especially since I still don't have my beads in my hair. But there is coming up, like I said, I don't want to spoil the videos that are coming up. I also want to see what else uh, I'm getting in the mail as far as Timu and Wish goes. I really want to get my crimping iron because I want to straighten out where the ends are curled up. And I'm also thinking that there may be one or two braids that I ought to undo and redo. And one thing I noticed, you see the back of my hair, I've got these wispy blonde hairs. Oh, you see this? It's like that hair will not hold the color. It looks like I recently bleached it, except I'm growing roots, as happens, right? But the purple has not stayed, and I'm concerned about my hair, my braids looking faded, because even if I slathered on purple dye, which I could very well do, if I were to do that, it would not, it's supposed to soak in for a while and then you're supposed to rinse it out. But it would just get stuck in between, how the hair braids and everything. And I would think that it would never fully rinse out, or it'd always be tacky and maybe run off on the beach. I don't know, rub off on your clothes. Uh, Showering is so problematic with braids like this because if you get like this to lather to clean your scalp, the friction makes the hair come out and it gets more fuzzy and stuff. And sometimes what I just do, what I always did, and I've been getting my hair braided since I was 15 years old. I do it myself. I only had it done one time. I've been doing it all myself since. I just tied this up like this just to get it out of my face because when my hair is totally down, a few of the braids here, they cause friction and they rub off some of my eyebrow makeup. And that is so damn annoying. So like with my eyebrow doesn't look. Oh, Debbie, you know what? I saw the messenger flashing, and I actually stopped what I was saying to respond to you on there because I didn't want to ignore you and what you told me about that can't be easy. Uh, Thank you. But thank you for sticking around tonight. I missed a couple of days, computer problems. I feel really bad because I really like doing daily uploads and things, especially since I can batch record so that doesn't mean that I have the pressure of having to film every single day. If I want to look like a total slob and not have any makeup on and just lounge around and do housework without having to worry about how I look because I can do it because I know I could just select something and put it in. And there are times when I just don't feel like it. I would like to say that the only time I won't have something for you guys is if I have tech problems. Because let's face it, if the computer won't turn on, there's nothing I can do. Okay? Now, I got a handful of equipment I don't know how to use. Starting with this. It has an instruction booklet that's so badly uh, translated. My mother and I looked at each other like, what the hell? Got this camcorder. And both of these, by the way, have uh, not 25. Is it 25 gigabyte cards? Both of them have these. Okay. Then I have da, 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 the iPad. I don't know how to do anything with it. When I think I'm turning it on, all I get is Siri. It's very frustrating. Even though I got sent the link to the manual that if this computer doesn't break on me anymore, I could read it on there and then I can learn how to do it. So, but I also have this. This is a kitty tablet I got on Wish or Temu. And let me see what happens. I'm going to, now it should be charged up. I'm going to press the button. Guys know anything about kitty tablets? Now, it said that the browser was not supported, not compatible or something. So, and since I was on Google, right, it recommended I go on download Chrome. So I did. But then when I downloaded Chrome, it said it should activate automatically if it doesn't do it manually. So then I pressed this button that it said to press. Then all of a sudden I have 2 copies of Chrome. And then it says I should uh, if it doesn't do it automatically, press this button. So I did it again. So now I have 3 copies of Chrome on this machine. Uh, I inserted the 128 gigabyte card that goes up in here. Okay. Now, obviously, I got to do a whole lot of things with this, including fix the time because it's 1:17 a.m. in real life. But so I got 3 copies of Chrome on a tablet I don't know how to use. I just wanted to get off of I wanted to first of all get rid of the extra copies. And then I wanted to actually find an address bar so I get onto a site and do things. Because the whole idea of having all this extra tech is so I have other things to film with. So if the computer goes cuckoo, I can make videos with this, videos with this, and I can keep my channel going. And then maybe I won't have to risk myself getting mugged if I go into a bad neighborhood. And I want to walk and talk about my glamorous life. I want to show the street cat, and I want to show, whatever. And not have to worry about somebody saying, okay, it's in your pocket, give me your electronics, whatever, you know? And then I could maybe find a way to transfer the stuff from these to the computer and edit and do all those things, assuming I feel patient enough for the learning curve, because I know whenever you got editing software, you got to learn how to use them. And the thing is, I haven't had time to sit down and do that because when I have just one machine, I a lot of times have this video program going on in the background that every time the ads run, it runs up this counter. It's a site called Hideout TV that actually I'm getting uh, the credits. I'm using the site called Loot Up because they have this thing every day you can press. It's called the Daily Loot Chest. And you can have up to 30% what they call multiplier, which means whatever your points are, you get a 30% of them in addition to it. So the payout is better than InstaGC. So, and you can get things like Amazon credits. You can probably get, now I'm not trying to get PayPal because as I've told people before, I'm discouraging PayPal. The government's going after people. If you get $600 or more in PayPal, the government issues you an IRS form. They're trying to take anybody that's getting any kind of side gigs, anybody making any kind of money, the government wants it. And that's really fucked up when you're making such little an income. If I was to take the time, Debbie, you, in the time that we have you've been in my life and I've been in yours, or however this whole thing is. You're proving yourself to be a real friend, and there's things that you seem to obviously understand about life, and things that we've both gone through, and and a lot of people know I have some caregiver experience because I run into people in my life that were uh, old and hallucinating because they had Alzheimer's and active alcoholism on top of it. And that's interesting because some of it is a genuine forgetfulness of the dementia, and some of it is the blackouts of the straight vodka drinking, which I was participating in also because this was, well, I lived in Hollywood. It was before I got sober, which I'm so glad. November 19th, I'll make 20 years without a drink of alcohol. I'm telling you, I want to make it. I want to make it. I don't. Alcohol, if you still can handle it, I'm not going to judge you. Sometimes I feel sad that I can't anymore, but I can't. It scares me. The thought of taking a drink right now really scares me. I heard a story of a guy that had over 19 years. He just had a glass of wine with a family dinner. Took less than a year for him to be drinking worse than at his worst, and he ended up drinking himself. And the person who told me that story, he ended up being found dead with a vodka bottle in one of the rooming houses, the rooming house in Atlantic City, right next to the Irish pub. The Irish pub has a beautiful rooming house attached to it. I've never been in the rooms there, but the outside looks nice. I don't know about the neighborhood, but I don't like water really. I don't drink water, partly because you drink so much and all of a sudden your gut gets big. But I don't really have any food in me, except for I ate a grapefruit. Uh, I want to get more water in me. I guess if that might help with the cramps. I can't take multivitamins unless I have enough food in me, and I don't like to eat before filming. But uh, but this week has been really rough. I been writing a write down different things about what I want to pack for uh the main trip, which of course is dealing with my storage. And I'm thinking, wouldn't it be nice if Greyhound was to have a real ridiculously low sale? Like I'm going to say, and you won't laugh at me, say $150 for one way fare. If it would go that low, then yes, I would do it because let's face it, taking public transportation is a lot safer than sticking your thumb out. But I really need to economize. Why would you want to spend the equivalent of of a computer just on a one-way trip out to take care of some business? Does not make sense because even if you've made that expenditure, that doesn't have anything to do with your housing. You still got to find housing, and if none of your friends put you up, and you can't afford a hotel, a lot of the hostels there, you have to have a passport, and you can't be an American. And hotels got to have ID, unless you play the homeless route and go apply for welfare and they put you up in a cheap hotel there, which I really don't want to do. But I'm saying, by hook or by crook, I got to get out there. Uh, um, I think when you do PayPal, I think there may be a way to designate it so that they know that you're not like selling something. Like say you and a bunch of friends went out to a lunch, and you know how the restaurants don't like to split checks, so somebody pays a check and then people Venmo or PayPal or Cash App or the different ways, so that the person to pay for the so the meal gets paid for and everybody gets compensated. One, I never understood the problem with splitting checks, and I never understood, by the way, on the subject of this, the people splitting it even, Steven. That's not fair because I usually order some of the cheapest food when I go out to eat. And if say all I eat is a salad and I don't get a drink, I just drink water. And you got somebody that gets a prime rib or somebody gets lobster tail. No, you split it even Steven, then a person that hardly eats anything is paying that. That's just not fair. So I really wish that they would be cool with splitting checks, as long as the restaurant doesn't get gypped, and as long as the waiter doesn't get stiffed. Everybody puts in what 15%, maybe 20% of what they ordered. That's the growing thing here, or maybe 18%. I don't know. I don't eat out. Not eat. Not. I don't eat out. There's money involved, to put it that way. Well, actually, no. Occasionally, I'll. Uh, I have actually, when I was playing guitar outside, somebody gave me a $10 McDonald's card. I'm taking that with me to Los Angeles. Uh, and I got some other kind of uh, gift card for like something like that I got, and I saved because they don't have expiration dates. Oh, I got something else. I'm taking these with me out there. They expire September though. These are this coupon good for any Frito Lay product, and one item up to $4.99. Did you notice the chips have really gone high? I mean, ridiculous. I love those Lay's Limon, Limon. They taste like salt and vinegar chips, kind of. I think they're made in Mexico. And I first time I had them was there's this Mexican store, grocery store. My mom used to like to send me there to buy the meats because they had really good meats, but weren't cheap. And now meat prices, oh my God, ridiculous. But they have this real catchy music. I find myself dancing in the halls, and I have to stop myself because let's face it, what if you knock over a display or something? Plus, the customers might not appreciate it. But I think some of the men didn't mind, honestly. But the thing is, they didn't have prices on half their things. I always have to go to find somebody to price things. Uh, Five Flames. I'm reading this comment. You're looking like that woman in the movie that has the baseball bat. I can't think of her name. Did she? Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn? I don't know that that was the name of the movie. I think the movie had something to do with the Joker, and she's a blonde, right? And I think she also is starring in Barbie, which I haven't seen. I would like to see it because, I mean, why not? Who doesn't like Barbie, right? I watched the Oscars, and I liked the Ken song. A lot of the music, though, I put on mute because I didn't want earworms and stuff. But I watched that, and I thought. Anyway, I got this coupon, and this is $1 off coupon for Lay's. So I'm bringing them with me because I might feel like treating myself when I'm there. So I got 3 sleeping bags. Uh, I'm just whenever I find any kind of like survival type gear, like those, they have these tiny little washcloth, but it's in a tiny little pouch. I showed you in the other video, so I think you heard about this already. But anyway, things like that I found, I'm setting aside, and that's in this thing, which I'm definitely not bringing because let's face it, these stickers ordered on Hollywood Boulevard, especially, they don't like this guy, and they don't like Trigger University. They probably like Alley Cat Allies. They probably don't like Israel. Probably don't like Rudy Giuliani. So I got to kind of be a little bit practicing my situational awareness out there. I want to make myself some media credential kind of thing. I got my Greyhound Road Rewards thing. That I don't know if they even do that anymore. I used to go to Greyhound really frequently. I used to go to Washington D.C. a lot, but yeah, that was before the gas prices went cuckoo and before everybody started pulling down statues and hunting Trump supporters and stuff. I'm not going to go in a city, even that I love, if people are going to be running rampant, being violent, especially targeting individuals of my persuasion. It's not worth it. It took the fun out of going to a city that I love. You know, Plus the person I was staying with, he's got himself a girlfriend now, so I don't think she'd appreciate my being on the couch. So, it's always different when your friends couple up and all of a sudden they're with their partner, and especially if you're friends of the opposite sex with these people that couple up, it's things get a little, it's not that things get uncomfortable between you and your friend, but they do a little bit because all of a sudden you remember, oh, they have a girlfriend now. So they're going to be less maybe available when you need that floor space, or you just want to talk about whatever because they need to have more free time to be with their girl, and you don't want to make her feel uncomfortable because sometimes people have insecurities and they don't like their man or their woman to be talking to other people. So I just kind of I fade to the side and I don't interfere because couples, I don't want to get in their I love Greyhound. So Debbie said, yes, I travel Greyhound to Oklahoma from Michigan and a few other trips. Trip to Chicago was the worst. Chicago is the hub for Amtrak, and it's interesting. You often are there as a stop. And in 1994, there was an earthquake in Los Angeles. And now I got a round trip Amtrak. It was a sale. It was like $199 or something. And it was a round trip. And in those days, if you had a round trip ticket, you were entitled to up to 3 stops. So one of my stops, I decided to stop for a bit to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to see my grandparents. And then, of course, I spent the bulk of my time in Atlantic City. And I was going to go down to either Nashville, Tennessee, or Memphis, I forget, go to the wedding of this guy who I really would have had no business being. It was somebody who he was kind to me when I was trying to escape the bad boyfriend who'd stolen my car. And when I needed a place to stay, he let me stay where some crazy nurse who was hooked on smack, heroin, was staying. And I stayed there when he was there. But as soon as he left, I woke up one morning and she had my bags packed and I had to put everything in storage and hit the road jack, right? But anyway, I had lent him $400 so he could buy a shitload of Klonopin so he could get clean off of heroin. I don't know if that works like that, but anyway, I did it, and no, I never got the money back. But anyway, when I got to Atlantic City by Amtrak, my mother convinced me that no, maybe I shouldn't go to that wedding because, oh yeah, because I also had a little bit of a fling with him too because why not? He's cute, and when you're escaping an abusive relationship, sometimes there's nothing quite like a really attractive person to cheer you up. So anyway, no regrets. But anyway, because of this, I didn't go to the wedding. I had extra time to stay here in Atlantic City. But this also, what ended up happening is when I finally went back west, you have to have an interchange in Chicago. And while I was sitting at the bar, and this was before I got sober, I found out that Los Angeles just had an earthquake because it was 1994. It was January of 1994, and when the people at the bar found out that I was on my way to LA, they sent me drinks. So I got back on my train with a little bit of a buzz because I was thinking, okay, what am I coming to when I go back to LA? And sure enough, when I arrived, there was a bunch of aftershocks my first day there. I was in Hollywood, and all you could do is hold on to the walls. When you live there and you've been in them enough times, it's not a big deal. But truthfully, each time they do get your attention, and they can be scary and they're unpredictable because you don't know how long they're going to last. And even if they start out gently, you don't know if they'll keep on being gentle, or they'll accelerate, or if they'll be from this to like this, because they could feel different. Sometimes they're rolling feelings, sometimes they shake like a freight train. Sometimes they're more upper feeling, and some feel more internal, if that makes any sense. Sometimes they feel like when a truck crosses the street. Sometimes if your street's hollow, and sometimes they're much more internal. Like I'll give you an example. There was a earthquake. The epicenter was near Washington D.C. It happened when my mother was still working at the Trump Taj Mahal, but it was on one of her days off. And this earthquake was so strong, even though it wasn't that high on the Richter scale. It could be felt from the Appalachian Mountains, like down south, clear up to Canada. People all along the eastern seaboard felt this. We felt it here, and it was good. It felt like this freight train sideways. And my mother was in her bedroom. She was sitting on her bed, and I was in our hallway up toward the back, near where the other roommate is. Um, I Tom Flash. Sometimes, yes, I do wear white nylons. Um, I think they're can be a lot of fun. I've worn compression kind that are a little bit on the opaque side. I've worn the sheer kind. I've worn the fishnets. Um, that's very groovy. I have two shades of white garter belts. I like to go matchy matchy. Okay, I'm reading my. Okay, I'm gonna. I hope I don't screw things up here. I see that I'm missing out on a lot of the things going on in the chat, and I want to just go up here and see. Five Flames, thank you for what you said. Okay, Debbie, again, thank you for coming on. Five Flames, you're lucky and have good siblings. Hey, if you get along with your brothers and sisters, that's good. Yes, Harley Quinn is beautiful. That's Margot Robbie, right? She is cute. Oh my goodness. And young. They're all young, cute. I didn't know for sure I was going to do this. I hope I'm not doing this all night because I'm really not getting my sleep. There's things I want to do tomorrow. There is a guy that gives coffee to homeless and hungry people like 9 o'clock in the morning near the Tropicana. And it's also a good way to get information about who's doing what, who's out of rehab, who's out, who's not, who's dead, who's alive, who's drunk. Blah, anyway, it's good for me to find people. So I like to go up and find them. And then downstairs, the church that does the morning blow us out, they sometimes give me their leftover coffee if I show up around 11:30, between 11:30 and 12. I show up with an empty carafe and I can get sometimes a nice big pot of coffee from my mom. And oh, I know what I wanted to tell you. Unless I said it already and I'm repeating myself, in which case, blame it on the sleep deprivation. While my friend was here who fixed my computer, some guy came over who was soaking wet. It had been raining. His sneakers were wet. His clothes were wet. He was cold. He asked if, first of all, he thought I was a church. And I said, I'm not the church, but let me see if I can help you. And I went up in here, and why would I have men's sneakers, right? If I'm an 8, that's the equivalent to a men's 6. And this guy was a tall man. I would guess he's definitely wear much bigger shoes. Well, I went in the back bathroom that the other roommate claims is his. And now a couple of months ago, he had one sneaker that was in the bathtub for the longest time. It was on the other side of where that chair is that I stand on when I take a shower, so I don't have to put my feet in the filthy bathtub. Well, he had always had this sneaker here, and I kept on moving it. Finally, he put it in the wastebasket, but he never took the wastebasket out because he leaves trash piled up and all this stuff because it's his and whatever. It's the way it is. And since I don't feel welcome there, I don't pick up after him. Why should I? He owes me all this money. He won't pay me back. Why the fuck should I pick after him? So anyway, both sneakers happen to be there, and they're big men's shoes. And this guy, I checked them. The only part about them that was cruddy was the tread themselves looked like maybe the person had walked through mud or straw or something. But other than that, they weren't filthy dirty. And I put my hands in the shoes themselves, and they didn't seem dirty. So I gave them to the guy. The guy was very grateful. And then he asked for socks, and I couldn't find socks that big. Not that were clean anyway. Then I asked him if he's hungry, and he said yes. And so I said I had some frozen Wawa sandwiches, but because they're frozen and I don't use a microwave, we use toaster ovens, and they take at least 20 minutes. If he's willing to wait, I'll heat some for him. And he said yes. And so I heated them, and the guy never came back. And I figured maybe he has more going on besides just being wet and cold. Maybe he has some other substance issues that, or whatever, that he couldn't. I'd even found a chair that was in a parking lot nearby that I had actually hidden away so that people couldn't use that to save a place in line when you're getting the free food off the street. Anyway, he didn't get the chair. He never came back. My mother had already eaten, so she wasn't hungry. So I put it in plastic and I ended up putting it back in the fridge. I said, if you're hungry, ring my doorbell. I'll probably be up. And so if you hear the sound of my voice and you know where I'm at, obviously I'm not going to do something stupid like give my coordinates on this live stream. But if you know me and you're hungry and my light's on, ring the damn doorbell. There's no need for anybody hungry, not when there's people all over distributing food. There's canned goods up and down the street, canned sliced carrots, vegetarian vegetable soup, and garbanzo beans. Dude, you want canned goods? They're here. Occasionally they make canned goods that even have flip tops so that you don't have a can opener. Some of that stuff, now the soup is condensed soup, so you got to mix it with water. But the green beans and all the vegetables, you can eat them out of the can. I've seen people do it. That pork in those nice big cans, I've seen people get a can opener outside and eat that right out of the can. And if you have nothing for your dog or cat in a pinch, they like that too. But it's good to rinse the salt off if you're getting this food to your dogs and cats because it's really not good for them. But if you don't have any food at all in the pinch, I posted that video already about the dog and cat food. There's a lot of people around me who have animals and are always trying to borrow money for pet food or trying to finagle pet food. And I'm always saving meat for these animals. I did it when my cats were still alive. I'm not ashamed to say I dig through trash cans. If people throw in, especially it's a place, not a restaurant, because obviously I wouldn't do it at a restaurant, but if it's certain places where they're feeding people, like homeless people, for instance, like, say a Salvation Army type place, then yes, I will, because I'm not wearing all this glamorous stuff. I mean, I look like myself, but I tone it down, obviously, because I'd be mortified if somebody recognized me from here in this place. But I will go and I'll take a container and I will dig meat specifically for street animals. And I give it to my neighbor who's got the dog and the cat. And he didn't even seem all that grateful for it either. I said, how many of you would do that? Your animals are hungry, especially those people that claim that their animals eat before they do. Well, then I don't see you digging in trash cans, get the piles of the hot dogs and the uh, pork chops, hamburger patties, chicken breasts people throw out, or especially the people that don't eat pork because it's against their religion. Rather than offer it to somebody else, they'll just throw it out. I don't like to see food go to waste. That's so wrong. It's really unnecessary. When I've seen people on the street literally pick food up from the sidewalk and eat it in front of me, I saw this in Hollywood. And I think they were trying to see what my reaction would be. But when you see people that are willing to do that, it changes your perspective. And you see that there's places that throw food away when there's hungry people. We don't have a shortage of food. We have a problem with the distribution of it. And some places do a pretty good job, like the casinos here in town. They try to redirect things to organizations that share with social service agencies. They really do make an effort, but I'm sure there's still a lot of waste because for sanitary reasons, you can't, like, I guess, dealing with the buffets, the food's been sitting out. I would think at least set the stuff aside for your dogs and cats. If I was working around food, I would be trying to redirect food. But I'm terrified at working around food because food's around, eat it. And my family history, the women tend to be very obese, and I don't want that to happen to me. And even though my mother thinks that I don't have any danger of that because she thinks I take after my father's side, but this year I have not been eating Mrs. Smith pumpkin pie in front of me, and they're little ass pies. Come on, what would you do? Some things that taste good, and if I see it, I eat it, and I don't have to be stoned, but it tastes good. It's a pleasure that doesn't get you arrested. Oh, okay. So you can say to PayPal so it doesn't get people in trouble. Because I'm afraid of getting in trouble with the IRS. They're thank you for stopping by Five Flames. I really love it when there's people in the chat room. When I first started doing these live streams, I'd be lucky if there were two or three people making comments. And there are times when I would do live streams when there would be absolutely nobody talking to me, and I felt like I was talking to a brick wall. I know that there's always the replay and people watch this as a standalone video afterward, but there's nothing quite like the interaction talking to other human beings. And Fixamoto, hi. Thank you. I was trying for a color match, and I used this blue cream makeup underneath the green, which made it look more blue than the green because I was trying for an exact match. Because, when you have a ton of palettes, it should be easy to find the exact color. And I like to get as matchy matchy as I can. Yeah, because it's fun. I think color is fun. I'm really glad to be on tonight because I had computer problems. I had 2 days where the computer totally went kaputs. The screen went black. Then earlier this week, I had problems where the computer would not get on the internet. And so twice this week, I had to have somebody, a friend of mine from high school, actually, it's a local that knows computers and he's not too far away. And if it wasn't for him, I don't know when I would have got the stuff sorted. And yeah, that's the thing is, I really am trying to make a pledge that the only way I will miss doing live, if not live, because I don't do live every day, obviously, but at least have a daily video and then live occasionally. And the only time I'm going to screw up on this is if I have tech problems, or yeah, that should be my only excuse, because even if I am not in the mood, if I'm not in the mood, I'm grouchy, depressed, had a fight with somebody, whatever, that doesn't mean I can't upload a video. Okay. The thing is, when I don't have anything in the can and I'm really overwhelmed because, say, the stress of being a caregiver, say, the stress of living with another roommate that does not love you and make sure that you know it, say, the daily stress of all the responsibilities of living someplace, and the housework and all of the stuff that people do, so you shouldn't bitch about it. But when there's hardly any time for sleeping, and then you're getting leg cramps, and then you realize that you put on weight, and then you're thinking, oh my god, I'm thinking I'm going to go back to LA looking older, looking fatter, having, and then you can't think like that. It's just, there's so much to think about. And even like the jewelry you're wearing, you can't wear just the stuff you love, because invariably you're going to find old friends and you're going to want some of your jewelry. So, my advice to anybody that's going to go where they haven't seen you for a long time and you're going to love you and miss you is wear half the jewelry you wear things that you don't like. That way, when people want something to remember you by, you can give them something that maybe you're not going to miss. And that way, they'll still appreciate it because it came from you, but you won't be really, really mourning that thing. 'Cause I remember one time when I had a whole bunch of spiked and studded stuff, and somebody wanted something I was wearing, and I gave up one of my dog collars or something. And I'm ashamed to say that I kind of was a little bit not, I felt my attitude was kind of a bit begrudging because I really didn't want to give it up. But I feel embarrassed. This was a nice person. She was somebody who I knew not only on as a person on the scene, but she also had a locker in the same storage company to deal with. And those people, man, every 7 months they raise them. Every 7 goddamn months. So I have to go out there. Two big units full of stuff I got to dig through, put everything into one. I mean, I had my LP records there, which frankly, some of them are in one and some of them are in the other, which is so stupid. That's not necessary. They're in the same facility, in the same hallway. They're just a few units away from each other. But I need to deal with that. Uh, I'm reading the do I like ham? Yes, I like pork. I like ham. I love bacon. I'm not going to blow up, okay? You can trust me. But that said, I love kosher products. I love Hebrew National hot dogs. Oh, all beef hot dogs. Hot dog gotta be all beef, I think. I like, as much as I like to be skinny and stuff. I like good food. I'll admit it. Especially Asian sushi, Chinese food. Oh my God, that's my absolute favorite. And here, there's no Chinese restaurants open like after 10 o'clock, except for this one particular one up near resorts. And you know what? They their pork and their pork fried rice is not good tasting. It's like it's sweet. There's something funny about it. They didn't have any lobster. I wanted for my birthday. I was there the day after my birthday. And you know, on your birthday you want to treat yourself, right? I wanted what I wanted. And I got like three different things. I wanted lobster fried rice because I never had it before, even though lobster is immoral because of how they kill them. And now I read some article that shows just the pain that lobsters go through when you boil them. That's sick shit. Whoever dreams up this stuff? You know, there's some cultures that think that meat tastes better if it suffers. That's sick. I don't understand how people can be cruel to animals like that. I know that if you are a meat eater, you have to accept that meat doesn't come from the store, that it comes from either a hunter shooting it or from factory farming. But just because animals are can be used for food doesn't mean that you can't be humane about it. You know what I would find hard about the farm thing is that you're raising something just to kill it. I think it's kind of more fair to just get it by being a hunter, but I guess that would make it a lot more expensive because you're out riding around in your horse or however you're doing it. And when you finally see, I guess no hunters don't ride horses, huh? I watch a lot of cowboy shows. My mom and I like to watch a lot of westerns. That's one of our things. Bonanza, Wagon Train, all that stuff. It's all on reruns on Me TV, or there's a network called Grit. My father loved to watch John Wayne movies and stuff. And I didn't quite get to play Cowboys and Indians because that was a little before my time. But I played with Japanese and American soldiers. They were red or they were blue, and they were in different poses with different kinds of weaponry, and they had like stands. I played with them. I played with the model rockets, not the kind that actually had gunpowder and stuff in them, but the kind that had the spring. They had three stages, like a stage rocket, and they had springs, and they shot up. Those are the kind of things I played with as a little girl. And the only kind of Barbie I ever had was a Barbie head that you put makeup on her face and you style her hair. That I got the year, oh, it was like second grade. My brother got a third grade, second grade. Well, my brother got a Fisher Price uh, carpenter set. It has the tool thing that you use the wooden mallet and you hammer these nail things in the thing, and he hammered my hand right here, and we all thought it was funny. It hurt like hell, and of course we wouldn't let him watch Three Stooges anymore. You know, everybody likes the Three Stooges because of the slapstick stuff. Oh, he was such a nice little boy then. But after I grew up and left home to go see my fortune and fame in Los Angeles, things changed between us, and when he got his issues, bipolar and different stuff, he just became very bitter about certain things. And one of the things that he became bitter about was the fact that I left home and abandoned the family. And of course, I changed my name, which is another way of abandoning the family. And of course, I did this, got involved in the showbiz, which apparently is a very shameful thing. Doesn't make the family look good because you're out there in Tinseltown as a stage dancer, hoofing it up, and as a actor and as a model and all those terrible things. And what he's doing is an entertainment. I digress. But I need to go out there, take care of my business, allow maybe 2 weeks for that. I hope I can get it done in that time. And then I want to allow a week for some fun because I want to hit the Hare Krishna temple there, Sunday feast, eat my prasadam, eat that good food. There are the drum circles in Venice Beach, assuming that's still going on. There could be nightclubs if I can talk myself into anything without the ID, or maybe I could get photo ID there, or maybe I can get photo ID here before I go there. I don't know. My mother thinks some mail I got from my insurance, because it's governmental, might be the missing paperwork that I need to prove my residency to get ID here. And I know once I get ID, that'll open doors for me. It's been very hard. I've existed many years without it. Even in California, many years I deliberately didn't have it because I figured I wasn't driving. I was well old enough that you didn't need to card me to go into a club. The way I see it, if you look 30 or older, you don't need to be carded to go to a club, because this is not a matter of public safety. Nightclubs are where people drink alcohol and they dance and they socialize and stuff. Yes, adults want to be around other adults, but you can tell who's a grown up. And if you look 30, you shouldn't be getting carded. And I don't understand why, if I wanted to go to the liquor store, they wouldn't card me probably. If, say, some bum, because he was a nuisance too many times panhandling, they wouldn't serve him. He gave me money and I could go get him a bottle. They wouldn't bat an eye. But if I want to go to a marijuana dispensary, gotta have ID. And I don't understand. My mother, she's old. Were they gonna card her? Of course, she wouldn't go into a place like that because she doesn't like the devil's lettuce. But you know, I don't understand. Uh, I like Alice. Is Alice Cooper gonna retire? Oh man, I love that song "Poison." I love. I want to be elected. There is a stripper that I knew that used to dance to that, and I think that would be so much fun. Just all the only prop you really need is a top hat and maybe a cane or something, or maybe those. I have a shirt that's got tails. It's a cutaway. Let me see if I have it, or if I have it put away. I may have finally. I probably did. I must have finally put it in one of those dress bag things. Speaking of dress bags, I got a couple more at the dollar store the day that I went and got the beads, which, you know what, I shouldn't ruin because you haven't seen the video yet, but I got these because they're really great for protecting your clothes. And after I wash something, if I don't think I'm gonna wear it for a while, I just protect it. See, what ends up happening is some of these things, the little things, they're really easy to wash because they don't take any time to dry, and I could just hang them up and drip dry. And hand washing is actually better for clothes than machine washing because it saves fabrics, especially the drying. That's try to avoid that when you can. But with the things that are bigger, like the knits and the long sleeves and things, I will, since when I'm filming a video, I'm not wearing it that long. I will wear something a couple of times, like 3 times, and then I'll wash it because a sweater itch to wash by hand. And I find that even if I wear something for 15 minutes, if I put it in plastic with a bunch of other clothes, there will be some germ growing, like from wherever you're sweated, or any maybe dead skin cells or whatever. Bacteria will grow, and it will smell, and it will smell. The whole bag will smell, and you'll basically contaminate your your clothes. So everything that you put away in plastic, whatever, has to be clean. So that means that I may wear something 3 times over the course of like a 2 or 3 month period of time. Then I will wash it, and then I will put it away. And so I have stuff in this closet here that maybe I know that washing them is not going to be fun, especially those knits, because you don't want them to stretch out of shape, and most of them tend to be too big for me anyway. And if they're hanging like this, they're going to get even longer. So you got to lay them flat and air's got to circulate. And now, my mother's, I usually hang things first in the grow room, well, first in this bathroom, then in the grow room, then in my mother's room. She has a rack above her radiator. But today I was picking up, putting some laundry in, mostly her stuff, because I try to focus on her stuff at first, you know. And she's always yelling at the mice in there and other vermin. I remember we had tiny little ants that were attracted by, I don't know what, they have real teeny, teeny, tiny little ants that they will go specifically after the dry cat food. I noticed. I haven't seen them lately, but I was actually going after ant hills. Uh, this is probably not nice, but I was pouring boiling water on the sidewalk trying to deal with them. And you know, it's like you're damned you do, damned you don't, dealing with things, but that's the closest thing to animal cruelty I've done. Oh, I was at my stove using it because I don't have a lighter right now, using it to light that roach, crumbling the roach into the bowl to get high in the kitchen, right? And they have these little tiny moths are in my house. I don't know what they're eating. I have no idea where they're breeding or anything. And he's trying to go near the gas flame, and I'm turning it down. I'm trying to shoo him away. I'm practically burning my hand, trying to keep this moth out of the flame. Because one time, one of my uncles, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, he is having his like 14th birthday or something. I remember they had the cake, candles, and I watched a moth or a fly go right into the flame. And I was traumatized by that. Okay. He was like, I don't know how many years older he is to me. I was 8, 7, something like that. But I saw that and it bothered me really, really, really sick. Any kind of suffering, torture like that, I'm very much bothered by. Makeup with glitter, uh, you can't sleep, or I can't sleep. Actually, it's not really my bedtime anyway, even though when I was getting my computer looked at today, I was asking my friend, I was telling him a whole bunch of stuff about uh, my present home situation and the stress of living with the other roommate and the stress of being always tired because this caregiving thing. Because I'm always doing, as much as, yes, I do like to watch some nice trash TV sometimes. I am between the hand laundry and doing things for my mother and just all this stuff, and I'm always cleaning, which I know you don't believe me, and I'm always packing, and the planning of the content, which is the fun part. The creative stuff I enjoy. I batch record when I can. I go looking for Garfield. I bring him in, which I didn't look for him before doing this today because I want to be able to just go to sleep when I'm done with this and get some rest before doing a few things tomorrow. Oh, and there's a dinner tomorrow up the street that I am going to probably go to. It's the fourth Sunday of every month, except for around Thanksgiving and Christmas. There's this church, and I don't go to churches. I'm as witchy as they come, but there's a couple of churches that actually do serve poor and hungry and nice people and stuff, and they don't do what the idiots downstairs do, and they help a lot of my friends. And so I like to go there. Oh my goodness, they had Thanksgiving. I think I told you guys about the Thanksgiving meal they had, where they had lobster tail, shrimp uh, cocktail, Manhattan clam chowder, which is the kind I like. I don't like New England because I don't like milky things. Oh my God, I never had that stuff for Thanksgiving in my life. And I've gone to some nice Thanksgiving dinners, like in LA. For heads up, if you live in LA, Hollywood, around there, the Hard Rock cafes and the comedy clubs, they give Thanksgiving dinners, and around Christmas time too, Christmas and Thanksgiving, and they serve you there, and they don't look at you like you're poor. They don't give you that look. There's a class look that if you've been there, you know how it feels when you're living your life and the people that are in the struggle, you're all in it together. But when other people that are not in it, and if you're conscious of them seeing you, it fucks with your head. Um, this happened, like, the best way I could describe it is when I was living in San Francisco and I was really homeless. And this was before they had all the tent cities and the violent crime and all the stuff that's going on now. It was just people sometimes camping out, like it looked like an all-night slumber party, and it was in many aspects. I had many much meaningful time because I was writing poetry and I had writing in my journals all the time. And I'm not saying there was involved and there was LSD because it was hippies. It was San Francisco, for God's sakes. I was hanging out in Haight Ashbury. I was hanging out on Market Street. I was hanging out in Goldgate Park. It was this hippie love child. Yes, it's not 1969, but there were still many elements of it, and the gothics and the punk rockers, um, but and the drugs too. But uh, it was like a slumber party then, but now it's a totally different story because you have the violence, the crime, the things that are going on now because you have district attorneys that will not make bail posted because many of them feel that to have people accountable for their crimes is somehow racist, and they're trying to make it fair for disadvantaged groups. So I guess somebody in their infinite wisdom decided that if we stop prosecuting people for shoplifting, if you allow the people to take that Louis Vuitton bag, take that fur coat, take that whatever, because after all, they've had a difficult start in life. They have not had the same privileges as some of us people. Where's my privilege again? Are you missing something? Am I missing something here? I'm looking for my privilege. I'm gonna look outside. Is there privilege? Um, nope, I don't see any privilege. Not right now. That said, I don't see the crackheads on the corner right now. But it is 2:06 a.m. But yeah, things are really very lawless and very violent in the state of California right now, as also seems to be going on in New York City and in Philadelphia. I haven't noticed a big uptake in things getting worse here in Atlantic City, though. However, that doesn't mean that it isn't in other places. It's the usual. It is what it is out there. I haven't even heard gunshots in the past couple of weeks. So, but uh, I one of the things that I don't like about sleeping is getting these leg cramps. And I laid down last night. Uh, I woke up, I don't know how many hours later. I felt like a grappling hook was pulling my muscle like a rubber band from the ankle up to here. I was not digging it. I hobbled out of bed, put my sneakers on, ran into my mother's bedroom. She was actually asleep. Her TV was off. So a lot of times she falls asleep, her TV's on, her light's on and everything. Her light was out, TV was out. She was asleep, and I got to the bed and scared her. I felt really bad. It's embarrassing to be going, oh, to your mommy because you're in pain. I felt like a real low life. Well, not a low life, but I wasn't happy about that. But when you're hurting, what do you do? And she's like massaging my leg, and I'm trying to get comfortable, and and it's like, it's just, you can be any age and still need your parents. And if you're lucky to have at least one parent still alive. And so I'm in this caregiver role, and I know when I take care of the business I have to do in LA, I want to come back here, and either right away or possibly by way of New Orleans and Las Vegas, because depending on how I'm doing this, like if it's bus, it's obviously safe. But I'm saying is that I can have some monkey business in both those places. Vegas is always fun because even if the food isn't as cheap as it was, there's still free things to do. And I can make really groovy videos, which if I'm not going to film, I'm not going to go because, and I do need to go. So I fully intend to film it. I can't imagine as a content creator, I can't imagine not documenting it because I think of so much other time I was in California. Yeah, there were times when I had disposable cameras and I took pictures of things, but not nearly enough. And in San Francisco, hardly any pictures at all. And it's a shame because I would really like to document those years with more than just the journals that I was keeping. I was writing so much. Um, and the thing is that my mother, I want to get this school bus, okay? And I want to make it out into like an RV slash YouTube studio, have it tricked out so the cats have, I want to do like a split level so that, okay, tell me what you think of this. Say this is however tall the bus would be, right? I want to have like like a shelf going around it that cats can be, and they could. It'll help the place be cleaner. I want to get a litter robot, maybe two, because they are self cleaning. But I'm thinking, see, they should make them see through. If they made them see through, and then I could fill it with a pre litter, so that before it does the cleaning thing, you could see if the pee turns different colors, so you could see what the cat's health is. And I know that stuff's expensive, but if I am getting the school bus to live in so that I don't have to pay the rent, right? Because rent's too high. And obviously, I want to have cats in my life, but litter box, let's face it, nobody likes cleaning a litter box. It's not fun. And if you don't have the basic sanitation of reliable hot and cold running water, and let's face it, if the bus doesn't have a sewage hookup, and I don't know if I'm going to go through all that because that's a big responsibility, having septic things and making sure not to confuse the black hose. There's all these things. I've watched videos of people who are RVers, and I've watched some van line videos that shows how people trick out their vans, even though I can't imagine living in a tiny ass van. You can't have a bunch of clothes and stuff and do that with the way I make content that has a lot of fashion elements and things. I know I am going to ultimately need to do some downsizing to live in the bus, but getting rid of a whole bunch of clothes and stuff, I don't want to get rid of everything. And I've been trying to get rid of clothes that really don't fit me. The stuff that's just way too huge honestly doesn't look good. I may wear it once or twice on video, and I've been giving some things away. And you can learn so much. They say you can learn to do almost anything on videos, from how to play your musical instruments better to even now as far as electrical work goes. My mother learned how to do basic home electrician stuff through the Time Life books. It shows you how to install a switch, install a dimmer. You can install a overhead ceiling fan. You can learn so much. So I would imagine. Okay, Confuso, you said substances and you have a question mark. Um, okay, if you have a question, all you have to do is listen to me blabber on about my past, and you will find out any information about substances you want. Chandelier, hey, uh, Blip Blorp, hello. Your dogs have food. That's good. No animal should be hungry. Uh, Also, that guy didn't show up for the food that I heated for him. But then another friend showed up, who the one that gave me the roach that was like this fat, and okay, for $5, he sold me 5 packages of Temptation cat treats. Okay, even though they're the small sizes, and sold me something else. I gotta find it. Check this out. This is an X-Acto knife. It has the thing and all these blades. And these are such good all purpose knives for whittling wood, for so many uses. My father used to use straight blades to uh, scrape paint and to scrape glue residue. Sometimes when you take certain kind of tapes off, it leaves residue. These have so many uses. When I was in 5th grade, our teacher taught us how to make duck decoys. and we had to whittle. We used genuine X-Acto knives, and some of those kids were really hardcore. They were like chasing me around with knives. I had to literally climb on, either go out, hide out in the cloakroom, or climb on top of the. They had this, I guess it was like a wardrobe cabinet that you could actually sit on top of. The kids were out of control. In the Atlantic City public school system, there was a lot of rough bastards and bitches. I'm telling you, I was glad to graduate out of the school system, get out and leave those kids behind. And some of them actually did wind up with a life of crime. My mom, when I was in LA, she would send me newspaper clippings from home. And this classmate who did a bank robbery, this classmate did embezzling, this classmate did welfare fraud, this classmate did this. And it was, I was never surprised at the people who did the things that they did. It's sad, and sometimes there's more than one person in a family that did things, and it's just I don't know why these people did these things. I don't know whether it's because they didn't have intact families. I didn't know whether there was some gang stuff going on. I don't know, but it's really sad. And I'm thinking of what it was my graduating class known for. How many criminals. Oh, and I'm thinking, what am I doing with my life, right? I want to really do things. Right now, this channel um is the most I guess I'm proud of, and the cats that I was able to take care of and stuff. I mean, as far as thinking you made a difference and you're good for anything, how can you be good for the world? What can you do? How can you be of service? You can't just be taking up space, enjoying the physical pleasures of things, the food, drugs, all the stuff, the love. There's more to life than that. It's empty if you don't find some way to be useful. And a lot of people that happens naturally through their jobs or the families they create when they fall in love and they have children and stuff. And a lot of times, I guess that must be a wonderful source of joy. I don't know about the parenthood thing because I never found out. Families, it's complicated. Not everybody has the wonderful Ozzie and Harriet experience, and I don't. I don't want to feel that I have to leave my mother. I don't want to do it. I plan on coming back after these things I have to do in LA. I have to go to Central Casting because I have to correct some things with my records there. That's in Burbank. I wouldn't be amiss to getting a little bit of acting work there as long as it doesn't require me to stay much longer because, again, I have no idea where my housing is going to be. And if I have to rough it, I really don't want to. First of all, that interesting doing that and working in the movies because of you know, the practicalities of making sure that you get patient and all that stuff. I really don't know what I'm getting myself into, but I know I have to go. I can't I can't not try because if I don't, what's going to happen? They said that they give you 30 some, 40 some days after you stop paying before it goes. It can go in. I don't know if it goes in, or what they do is they just auction it off. And then all my worldly things that are out there would just go. And if I knew exactly where the auction was and I could just go and, I don't know, that could end up being a very high thing or it could be really cheap. But either way, I don't want to find out. I want to just go and get what I can out of there. I'm probably going to be shipping some things back here. There's a Mailboxes USA a couple blocks from my storage, and I can take things to that and have things shipped here. Um, well, as far as selling your soul in the industry, it's debatable as to what selling your soul even means. I don't know if by selling your soul you mean compromising yourself by taking some gigs that you wish you had. That's a little bit unavoidable because sometimes you'll take a gig and you don't get to see the script and you'll find out that the character that they cast you to play is not what you ever wanted to play. And that happened to me once. And when I actually went on one of the actors boards and I made a comment about this role that I inadvertently played, I didn't get any sympathy at all. It was mostly females that basically said, "Oh, they're Academy Award. A lot of the females who won Academy Awards, they took that role." it was a prostitute movie. And I find and if you're one and you're watching me, please don't take this personally. I find the idea very repugnant. I have been mistaken for one from the time I was 11 years old. It's something that I just could not do. Okay, my low battery power is going on, so I have to put this back and plug everything in. Um, Now I'm going to lose my light, by the way. Okay, got to put my power back in. That also means I'm back. I'm here now. But yeah, it was a Farrah Fawcett movie. She was directing and starring in, and it was shot in downtown LA. And I had an actor's agent and everything. Okay, something's obstructing my screen. Excuse me. So I had this actor's agent, and he had this call that was for punk rockers, panhandling punk rockers. So I said, okay, I can deal with that. And I was wearing a leopard print miniskirt, and I forget what kind of top. And I showed up there, and I was wearing I had a miniskirt and fishnet stockings and Doc Martens and leather and studs and everything. Well, when I showed up there, they decided instead of having me be a panhandling punk rocker, they would stand me on the corner where the prostitutes were. The subject of the movie was called Night at the Golden Eagle. And I guess it depicted a building where streetwalkers plied their wares, or they stood around and, hey, babe, the crowd, or however the hookers get their jobs to do. I don't know. Not being in that life, I don't know. But I do know that the traffic might not have realized that it was a movie set because, and I got the feeling that they thought that all of us actors really were whores. And I know this sounds like I'm being melodramatic, but I honestly felt a bit traumatized because I did not want to play this part. When you show up on the set, especially when you're not a principal, if you're just a 5 lines or less actor or you're an extra, you show up for the gig, right? They give you your voucher slip that you fill out with your name, your address, social security number, and all that bullshit. If you're union or non-union, then hair and makeup takes a look at you, make sure you're cool. Then the breakfast cart's right there, including an omelet station that they make fresh for you. Food is awesome on movie sets for the most part, so that's groovy. And the holding, and you don't have to worry about feeling like a fat gut when you've eaten because you go into holding, and by the time they call you in the set, your food is digested because they have to set up so many angles and things, and there's so much that they have to do behind the scenes with the microphones and the lights and the directors consulting with things and then talking to the principals. And so by the time they're ready for the low level actors, the 5 line less extras, they have everybody set up. So you got a lot of downtime. So by that time, you got your stomach back, right? And you do the thing. And it's a very fulfilling thing generally. But when they decided to put me on the corner instead of the panhandling thing, and I didn't feel I had a choice because I'm being paid for the per diem, you call it. And I couldn't very well just go home. It would have looked unprofessional to my agent. And anything that you do on set behaviors that makes people think you're unreliable, unprofessional, then they decide that you're not reliable and they don't want to work with you and you get less gigs. And nobody who is in the market of any industry wants to jeopardize their reputation, their work reputation. So a lot of times you don't have a choice. Now, there was one time when I went on an audition. I had answered this ad for it was a student film. It was some really weird production. It was a movie about women in a gang that were beating up. They would catch bad guys and they would beat them up and they would torture him by stomping them to death. And I actually got to look at the script and it was very fetishy. And I don't have any problem with fetishy stuff per se, but the storyline I found it to be repugnant because it was not like there's sexy fetishy, like the S&M club stuff, the vinyl and the PVC and the leather and the latex. That can be groovy. And responsible, sane, consensual BDSM is fine. But this script, it was like the girls in this gang got off sadistically on what they were doing to these guys, and the guys maybe initially maybe enjoyed it but then didn't. And I got the feeling that the actors actually may have been masochists, but it felt very wrong. It felt very like something I did not want my name attached to. It felt like I don't want something like this to be part of my legacy. And I have taken all kinds of dance work before, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as you're not letting people put their hands on you except for to stick money in your stocking. That, nothing wrong with that. But this script was very, very creepy, and I didn't take the gig. And not a lot of struggling actors are in a position to pick and choose their gigs, but you should, if something goes totally against your grain, and if you haven't committed to be the warm body that they need for the set. Because sometimes when you're a low level actor, you are the warm body they need for the 8 hours for whatever atmosphere they need, whether it's a background, whatever. Principal is it's kind of different. Featured principal or featured extra, that's different because that is you have more say in that, and they bump up your check, and it's rarely, if ever, anything that would be that would you would find to be immoral. I would think. So yeah, I think morality is something to consider in showbiz, and I was in Los Angeles long enough to see many people, especially runaway teenage girls, that were sadly right onto Sunset Boulevard, street prostitution and things. And that was very sad. And yeah, I saw some sad things. There's a lot of runaways would go to Hollywood because let's face it, Hollywood has this reputation where, I call it the Schwab's drugstore mentality. Schwab's is a drugstore that was before my time. I guess it was in the 50s, where people like James Dean and Marilyn Monroe and actors, they would go there and hope to be discovered, and sometimes they were. And by the time I went to LA, it was no longer there. It didn't exist, but you still go there with the idea that, oh, I go to the clubs and I have my face is out there. Somebody's going to recognize me, and they're going to see something that they like, and they're going to cast me, or maybe that sexy rock star I admired from the radio and MTV. Maybe they'll take me out on a date, or it's all part of the Hollywood fantasy that so many people buy into. The girls come out there because they want to date a rock star or a movie star. Everybody wants to get cast in a movie. Everybody wants to maybe meet other musicians and start a band. Everybody wants to, it's such a, it has these energies. It's like New York and Nashville and other places. They have these energies, they're vortices that people are attracted to, that they generate. So many people are attracted to these areas for these different things that they bounce off each other, and either they're either really good for each other or they're really bad for each other. They're either exacerbate some of their psychological problems and their tastes for drugs and alcohol and things, because everything you want, the temptations are out there. But if you can be disciplined, and if you can think about your health, and if you can think about your fitness, there are ways to do it in a more intelligent manner. And I think the advantage I have now is I got clean and sober off of most of those things, so I won't have those temptations. And I could go out there with at least those won't be stressing my life. I will have other stresses like housing, like, do I look too heavy? Do I look too old? Will I be able to keep my mouth shut enough so they won't tell that I don't have the best smile in the world? All the things, all the insecurities that especially can affect showbiz people. Plus, knowing that I'm going to a place where people haven't seen me since 2006. I often thought about all the years I was out there when I would see somebody that I hadn't seen in a long time. They left town for some years and they would come back. And inevitably, people gained weight, looked older, and sometimes they got clean, sometimes they didn't. But different things would happen. And for the most part, whenever people hadn't seen me in a long time, whenever they saw me again, they always would say nice things like the years have been kind and all this, blah, blah, blah. But that was then. Now, I'm not so sure. And with the comments I've been getting lately by so many people about how I am an older woman and I'm looking old. Oh, by the way, on that subject, I have to show you. Bear with me. It's in the hallway somewhere. Okay. That's, and the magazine it's in should not be relevant. So I'm going to try to cover up where I found this to show you this picture. You guys know who this is. This is Linda Carter. Remember Wonder Woman? I don't mean Gal Gadot's latest movie incarnation. I mean the Wonder Woman that was on TV. Look at her. Look at her face. This is a current picture. Isn't she gorgeous? I don't care whether you're gay, straight, bisexual, whatever, male, female, don't know what you are. She's beautiful. And if you think she's not, either you're jealous or you're lying. She's beautiful. Now, when I think of old woman, older woman, let me see if I can find a picture that would illustrate when I think of an older woman. Oh, and I hope I don't end up hurting anybody's feelings, man. I could show you a picture of my mother in case she kicked my ass. I finally gave her that haircut the other day, but she still needs the hair. She still needs her hair dyed. Okay. Now I don't know who this lady is. This is a picture on an ad, and this is and okay. This caption is: do you want to make a larger contribution to help vulnerable seniors living in poverty? Okay, so this is depicting a senior. This is an actress. She knows she's depicting a senior citizen. Now, no offense if you look like her. When I think of older women, I think of the nice curly haired lady here. Or I think of old Mother Hubbard who lives in a shoe who had so many children she didn't know what to do, assuming she had gray hair and it was in a barn, and she walked with a cane and she had wrinkles on top of wrinkles on top of wrinkles and she was old and she had to be at least 90 something because how old is Paul McCartney now? He's a cute Beatle. He can't be old, right? So it has to be older than that. So I noticed if you have old friends, well, they're not old, right? Because they're your friends. So older, your concept of older has to be older. Has to be older. It has to be at least older than your parents. And if you're young, your parents probably aren't old, so you better watch who you call old. So I'm going to show you her picture again. Now, again, I don't know what you guys think of as an older woman. Look at her face again. This is Linda Carter. You know how old she is? 72. This is what 72 looks like. Now, you know Hanoi Jane? Oh, excuse me. Jane Fonda. Have you looked at her? She's in her 70s, 77, 78 years old. Look at her. Is she not beautiful? I don't see any wrinkles or maybe one or two. Her hair is always perfect. She's just perfect. She's in the perfect shape. Regardless of what her political thing is, I'm not talking about politics. I'm just talking beauty here. She's in her 70s. I don't think of her as an older woman. Linda Carter is 72. You gonna call her a fucking older woman? And so there are some people that come onto my videos and they make comments on my videos referring to me as an older woman. Or they'll be backhanded compliments where they say, oh, you must have been a goddess in your prime because you're OG now. And I don't know who exactly said that. First of all, OG's nice, original gangster, I get it. I know a little bit more about gangs than I would like to, but be careful who you're calling older. Because I don't identify as older. She's 72. And I'm sure as hell not 72. If she's not an older woman, then why am I? And another thing, you sons of bitches, and sometimes it's women that say this, that have to say nice, beautiful, pretty for her age. Knock it off. You mean for her age. Is there a toe tag anywhere? I don't see one. I'm not headed to the morgue. I'm not cold. Watch your language. If you can't call a black person the N word, you can't call Spanish people this and Italians this and Irish that, then why do you think it's okay to make comments about people's age? You know, if you can't talk about a person's body in a way that makes them feel insecure, like saying they're cute, saying they got a beautiful skinny body, that's fine. I enjoy that. But if you say, oh, look like you put on a little weight, which, by the way, one of the gangsters down the street said a couple weeks ago, that just makes a person want to go back to fitness hardcore, because I sure as hell don't want to be pinching an inch. And watch, this is probably going to trigger somebody. And you know what? I'm responsible for my triggers. You be responsible for yours. I don't drink alcohol anymore, okay? And there's a commercial that they show on cable that shows, I think it's for Johnny Walker Red, and it shows the skating rink. And these people in the roller skates are just skating around, and you see the disco ball, and you're really getting into the visuals of skating. And then they show the rocks and the booze being poured in. And so I'm trying not to look at that, because as a person that stays away from alcohol, that's terrified of alcohol, that knows how bad it is, I don't want any part of it. I don't want to look at it. Beer doesn't bother me because I never got into beer, but it was the other stuff that I did drink, you know, the hard stuff. I don't want to look at that. So you're going to have a commercial that has all these beautiful visuals, and then it cuts to the alcohol. Then the beautiful visuals, and it cuts to the alcohol. Then the interesting people, and it cuts to the alcohol. I don't like that. You could say that that triggers me. But guess what? I got big girl panties, and I know how to handle my triggers. It's not the responsibility of the cable company or the liquor manufacturers or whatever to coddle me because something is problematic. I know how to turn away. So if anybody is offended by anybody's content, unless you're doing something that's genuinely harming people, like if I was taking live bunny rabbits and dissecting them without anesthesia, or if I was killing people or I was torturing something, yes, you have right to gripe. But if I'm not hurting anybody, and if all I'm doing is talking about my past when I used to be the life of the party, which, hello, used to be, if I'm not drinking anymore, and I'm not chopping rails anymore, and I'm not doing that, not ecstasy, not maybe we talk in the right circumstances. But you know what? Really, I'm a better version of me than I used to be. So for the people to be, uh, uh, to signing the contract, well, I don't know. There's lots of contracts, but now there are people that believe in devils, and they actually think the devil's going to come and sign something. And first of all, I would like to know how you would hallucinate to actually see something like that. But if something like that really did exist, I would like to think most people would be smart enough not to take that kind of chance. I've watched the Twilight Zone thing where the good looking guy that says he's Satan gives people what they want, but they have to, you know, bargain and stuff. So those are good stories. But really, you do have to be careful with your contracts. A lot of people do get screwed out of things, or people can do things to you, slip things to you, and then you black out and don't realize that they filmed you, and things like that happen. And so, and then when you try to sue them, then they could sell the whole thing to a Canadian distribution company. And of course, you try serving in another country, even if it's right next door, it's still considered overseas. So it costs a lot of money. You can bleed through your attorney's, uh, what do you call that, a retainer. You give them your first $5,000, you bleed through that real fast. So sometimes there are unscrupulous people in the entertainment industry, and even when you're sophisticated and know a thing or two, some people still fall victim of things. But I think it's a little harder to be victimized by things like that in the state of California, because first of all, acting things, showbiz things are very heavily regulated there. Second of all, you're not going to just go into somebody's apartment or condo. You're going to go into real offices. And where people sometimes have things happen to them is when you're in other states that aren't known as hotbeds for entertainment industry, people will take chances going into apartments and condos, not realizing that it wasn't a real office and that people were just being predatory. And this happens sometimes. And, yeah, that can happen to even seasoned entertainment professionals, because when you're in a different state, there are different things there, because you don't have as many legitimate showbiz things. So your guard is going to be down, because you're not expecting all the sophisticated things like the offices and the all the trappings of a producer's office or casting agencies or the different companies. And I've been in all kinds of offices, because when you're even a movie extra, sometimes you're dropping off headshots and you have to go to all these places just to do a drop off. And so you become familiar with a lot of the offices, but mostly casting agencies and things. And LA is kind of all spread out. So if you have a vehicle or something, it's easy to get to a bunch of them, or you can do public transit, or some are even within walking distance. And I'm going to be getting reacquainted with that in LA and how things have changed even since 2006. I miss it so much. I see so much LA stuff on TV and it makes me so homesick. And of course, you've seen the ad campaign, Discover LA. When they have that song, I really want to be in LA, and it just makes me, it gets to me. It gets me, it makes me just want to be there. Even though I'm thinking, what am I going to do when I'm there? Where am I going to stash my shit? Where am I going to lay my head down and sleep? Because it's interesting. My friends who live out there, some of them know, not all of them know, but some of them know that I'm making plans to go out there. I know life goes on and they have partners with health issues and they got whatever. Not a single one of them has said, "Oh, Leather, I don't want you sleeping outside. It's dangerous. Something might happen to you. You could crash on my floor." Not a one. And you know what? I dropped a few hints that I was headed that way, but I'm not going to go begging. I am not going to grovel. I'm not going to beg. And I'm not going to give people the satisfaction of seeing me fall or have a nervous breakdown or any of those things that I know there are some assholes that would just love, get their jollies seeing me break down, and you're not going to have. I'm tougher than I look. The same part of me that allows me to stay away from certain things that are very, very detrimental to me, like the drugs and alcohol, I think is some of the same part of me that enables me to not make the worst stupid choices. I'm not saying that there aren't going to be bad choices to make, but for the most part, aside from the procrastination and stuff, but I think I want to be doing more working out. I think that'll be good for my body and my soul. And I'm probably going to be going to bed kind of soon, because I would like to get some sleep today. It is now 2:42 a.m. and I would like to rest up. And if I wake up naturally in time to catch that guy on the boardwalk this morning, get some coffee downstairs. So like I said, I have some things to do on Sunday, and of course I'm going to be posting a video about, I guess, similar time that I posted today's video, or whenever it seems prudent. So I will definitely, you will see my face and hear my voice sometime tomorrow. Unless, of course, this computer decides to do the Watusi. I don't shut it down unless I absolutely have to, and it doesn't have any need for any um I'm trying to think. It does, updates. Oh, I forgot to put the cable in there. I actually had the thing plugged in here, but I didn't have it plugged in here. So now hopefully it's charging. Okay, yes. 8% available plugging in. My goodness, boy, did it drain. That would have totally gone dead. Okay, so I'm charging again, and now I'm really catching a sweat. I don't know why. Because it can't be it's 47 degrees out there and windy, according to this lower. Actually, you know what? Maybe that was earlier today. Maybe it's got to be colder than that now. Let me see what the temperature is. Uh, It's not showing me. Anyway, I think it's that cold out there. But, well, if I was wearing this, I would be cold. Anyhow, it's a Saturday night. You got all this traffic out there. If they saw that, uh, Zumbador, hi. Did I repurpose my clothing? Can I sew? Yes, I do sew, and yes, I repurpose a lot of clothing. This skirt that I'm wearing is a prime example. This was originally a much longer slip, and I got it like about 10 years ago. And when I first started wearing it to get the length that I prefer, I would actually, it was like the hem was here and the waistline was here, and I actually taped, or not taped, I safety pinned the waist to the bottom of my bra, and then I put a t-shirt over top of it, and it gave the dress the skirt look. But then I ended up just cutting it, and I made holes here with using an awl or a pair of scissors or something, and I used a it's kind of not shoelace, and um it's kind of, well, it's got like a shoelace kind of thing, but it's a slightly stretchy thing. So I can untie it and I can make it a little longer if I think that I'm showing butt, or I can make it a little shorter. And I love the paisley print. If you can see the colors are just so, I love the psychedelicness of it. I love the paisley print. It's got purple and red and orange and green and two shades of pink. And it's just, I saw it and I had to have it. It was at a dollar store. And it was this, and even though it was, because as is, it wouldn't have been suitable. So I repurpose things, I cut things up, I sew things all the time. Oh, speaking of, I will show you what I just did today on the subject of that. Um, just did this too. Let's see. Everything is on my bed. This is ridiculous. No room for me on it. Uh, Maybe it's here. I don't know where I put them. I had these two shirts I found. Damn it, I want to show them to you too, because I found a way to fit into them for babies. Oh, okay, I found one of them. One of the things I redid was I found this long sleeve babies leopard print thing. Okay, and this was for size. Oh, I don't know. It's first of all, I'll show you the back tag. It's some kind of baby thing. I don't know if you could even see it. I cut the arms off. I'm going to take this off so I could show you. This top is a Chinese top or Asian top that has frogs on it. So, you have to take and this is sewn shut. So even if somebody was to open this, you see it's not up sewn. Okay, now this top, you hear the yo-yo? That's drug dealing going on. This bra leaves nothing to imagination because it doesn't have any courtesy padding. So if headlights offend you, don't look. But now I could not have put this on if it had the arms on it because that was too tight. But if you cut it like this, and I have a bra that's totally strapless, it would look even better. So that's one. And I did this to another top that I found this morning. Or not this morning, like this afternoon. I gotta be careful not to rip my earrings out though taking this. Because I got a lot of jewelry. Oh, you guys know these stockings. Well, I wear these like as leggings or whatever, cover my legs with. They were actually legs from pants, children's pants that I repurposed to footless stocking. Uh, oh, I have these are from sleeves from a shirt I cut off. I'm going to attach these to tights so that I can make bell bottom pants out of them. But the thing is, I might end up, I instead of sewing, I would probably be better to either use Velcro or safety pins because you know how, depending on how long you pull the pants down, these might end up being too long and I'm short and I have to make sure that they don't graze the floor because I'm kind of a germaphobe and I hate the idea of pants hems or skirt hems or anything touching the filthy ground. And that's no fun trying to get. Can you imagine if these got stained up? But I'm saving these specifically to sew onto something. You can see it has the elastic, so it'll fit great over like I'll put them over a stocking leg so you'll see what I mean. And I don't know if can you see? So you could put these over black skin tight stretch pants or something, or pink ones, and you get bell bottoms. You know what? I don't know if you even saw that. Did you see this? Okay, good. You can see it. All right, I'm gonna put a shirt on, man. I might as well put the same shirt on as I had. And I'm sweating. I'm sweating. I would like to put my fan on, but it's in the hall, and I think she turned it off. And if my mom turned it off, when I turn it back on, it's going to start squealing, and you guys will not dig it. BA, hello. Thank you for joining me. I really wanted to go live today, especially since I have been having computer problems lately. And when I go out of my way to make sure that I batch film content so that I have something to post every day, and then all of a sudden my computer won't turn on or won't get on the internet or whatever, it really sucks because I don't like when I don't have working devices and I feel like people might be waiting for something and I don't have anything new. And it's like, what the heck's going on? And it's like, I don't have any way of contacting the outside world to let anybody know that the computer is being difficult. I've decided that I have this other equipment that I still haven't learned how to use. Well, somebody sent me the user manual for this. It's an email link that I think I can read in my laptop that I'm filming with. But as far as this and this children's tablet that I've shown you, what I think I'm going to do with them is I think I'm going to go to the public library. We have a choice of two in the city, and they do have a computer department. And I think I'll just ask whoever's working there to show me a few basics like how to turn it on, how to get online, how to get rid of the three whopping uh, copies of Chrome that I downloaded onto the Kitty tablet that I don't know how to undo. For those that didn't see it yet, this is my Kitty tablet that I have 128 gigabyte card in it, which is as big as, and it says Google Play Protect is turned on. I don't know why, but if it's a Kitty tablet, I'm sure it has some parental control stuff there. But when it recommended that I use the Chrome browser because it didn't support the one that was or was too old version or whatever, I downloaded Chrome. But then it said if it didn't start doing whatever, automatically press this thing. And I pressed this thing, so that gave me two copies of Chrome. Then it said if it didn't download, right, then do it manually, so press this thing. So that's how I ended up with three copies of Chrome. And I need to get rid of the other two, and I need to learn how to use the damn thing because it came with this broken English um, instruction booklet that neither my mother nor I could make any sense out of. It was very, very badly translated English. They made the college try, but it was very hard to figure out. And I have all this equipment I don't know how to use. It's ridiculous. Got this. This shoots both video and stills. And I have had digital cameras before, but so many years ago, and you really, when you don't use certain processes, certain procedures, you forget them. Just like you can forget mathematical things. If you're not doing addition, subtraction, or addition, you don't forget. Subtraction, you don't forget. But the long division, yeah, I forgot how to do certain things when I was at the grocery store and I was trying to figure out unit pricing. I'm thinking, what the heck happened to my brain? Is this inevitable? Is this what happens to people when you don't use certain skills that, let's face it, are part of functioning in society? You have to be able to do basic arithmetic. And maybe it's different if you are a parent because when you have kids in school, you get to refresh because you're helping your kids out. But if you're not a parent, you don't get that refresher. So I think that some of this stuff for some people gets lost. I know I can't be the only one, and I know it can't be just because I didn't miss the party back in the day. But anyway, I got all this equipment that I could theoretically be using at least to film with, even though I would have to put the card in a computer. But if I don't know how to use it, I'm not using it. And I have not, I bought this before the pandemic. This was like really cheap. It was like $24 on Wish. This was about as much or even less. But what good is having cheap equipment even if you don't know how to use it? So I need to learn how to use this stuff. I remember when everybody, well, not everybody, but this was what people would use to film their friends' concerts and stuff. This was what people used for filming. When I was like before 9/11, people had these things. And I always assumed they were hundreds of dollars, and only the upper middle class to rich people had them. Like I remember my grandma had a camera, video camera called a Super 8, and you needed to have a special lamp that really made your room bright in order to film with it. And of course, when you played the stuff back on a TV, because like if you filmed the TV, you would see the bars because it's different frames per second than video film. And my grandparents, they filmed the Neil Armstrong, walking on the moon, and made a copy of that, and that was very special. Matter of fact, that's part of a video compilation that my grandparents made before they died, and we have copies of it. It shows a bunch of family memories and stuff. And that house doesn't even exist anymore because they tore it down. It's really sad that it physically does not exist. The beloved home of my grandparents that I have so many happy memories, and it's like many things, they tear all these buildings down. It just really sucks. Um, well, but thank you guys for showing up. Uh, it occurred to me I haven't eaten really anything. I almost reached. I know that eating late at night probably isn't good, but I think when I log off, I think I'm going to fry myself up a hamburger. The only other thing I had all today was a grapefruit, and I've drunk coffee and I've drunk water and I smoked a little weed, and that's all I had. And there's junk food in the house I don't want to eat. Oh, I had some spicy peanuts. Planters Peanuts makes these kind of peanuts. They call it what did they call it? But they had honey in them, but they weren't sweet at all. I was a little bit concerned that they would be sweet, and I really wasn't in the mood for sweet. But they were at the dollar store, and they were $1.59. Some of the dollar stores here, not everything's dollar. Some of the things are higher, and you really got to watch it. But I saw them and I couldn't resist because it was a nice big can. It was like a full 16 ounces. And they were so good. They were spicy, but not too spicy. They were really had a good spicy flavor. They weren't barbecue, but they were spicy. And I guess the honey was just to have something sticky for the salty, spicy stuff to stick on them. But they were really good. And nuts are a really good source of protein. And some nuts, I understand, have either magnesium or potassium, which are supposed to help with leg cramps. So I know that when I had all these Kind bars, that Kind is a brand of snack foods, but they have only whole ingredients and only like four ingredients in the which is chocolate and nuts and I think sugar and salt or whatever it is. But anyway, I got my hands on a very large quantity of these things. By large quantity, I mean 3 or 4 dozen. And because I was given first dibs, I figure if these churches are going to make me suffer, they get goodies and they're offered, I get offered anything. Damn right, I'm going to take something. So I had all these Kind bars, and I mean, and each one of these was 203 of them a day, which not so smart maybe. But when I was eating all these nuts, I wasn't getting the leg cramps, and that is really becoming a very serious thing. Sometimes it's at least weekly, sometimes a couple of times a week. I lay down later or whenever I wake up, sometimes screaming in pain, and it's embarrassing. It's imagine if I was not home. Imagine if I was out in a public place. What if I was in a hotel and I disturbed people around? What if I was in a public place? What if I was on a bus? I had a leg cramp once when I was on a bus coming back from New York City. And that was the first time anything like that had ever happened. And I was embarrassed because it was in public and I couldn't very well scream. And plus, there was somebody sitting next to me. I had to stand up, sort of, kind of, and try to straighten myself out without attracting attention to myself. I didn't want to, you know, it was And I had no idea that this would become a thing. So I really would like to explore a way to ideally prevent these things from happening. I just don't want to have to, if I take, I'm afraid if I take multivitamins, I'm going to have to change how I eat. And I'm afraid I'm going to have to eat so many heavy meals just so that they don't make me sick to my stomach, that that's going to make me put on weight. And if anything, I'm not willing to take chances on doing anything that has a risk of weight gain. It's an ego thing. It's a vanity thing. And again, I don't mean to be offensive to people. It's not that I have a problem with anybody else's bodies and their body types, because the world is full of everybody. I just know what I want for myself. And that's why when I was working out at my most hardcore, I worked out like 5 times a week. And I mean, I was hardcore with the boxing, and it's all about form with the boxing. And boxing is so much fun. Kickboxing is so much fun. And I got all this workout gear that I have here, but just when you have work floors that are dirty, you don't want to be getting down on it, like yoga mats and the ab rollers and all that stuff. Uh, I should have a jump rope in there. I have to clean the top of that box though, because the cats used to sleep up there, and I know there's got to be kitty litter on it. And one of the pet blankets is still there. Another one I gave to somebody who needed a blanket, but this real hairy pet blanket that you can't wash pet hair in with other clothes because the pet hair gets in everything. So I have to wash it separately. I don't have my heart to throw it out because it's loaded with hair from 3 different of our cats. So I am reluctant to get rid of it. Uh, It is now 3:06 a.m. I really think I'm starting to fade a little bit. And as much as I would like to keep you company, sometimes these things go on so long that I'm stuck on stupid. And inevitably, sometimes I end up saying something that I shouldn't say politically. And then a couple months or years later, then YouTube takes it down because I violated some whatever. And, YouTube cannot be trusted. There's no real free speech here, and we have to be careful. Sometimes I find myself interrupting myself in sentence, and it isn't because I'm having a cuckoo moment. It's because I realized I was about to say something that somebody might think is triggering to eating disorders or glorifying drug use or whatever. And it's like, if I can't talk about my past without somebody thinking I'm glorifying things, what am I supposed to lie to you and say, oh, I had a miserable time? I did drugs and alcohol and got laid and did all these things, and man, it sucked. And I feel terrible and I should never have done it. Don't you do it. No, I did it. I'm not going to apologize for it. For the most part, it was a lot of fun. Um, Things can always be done in a safer manner, but I always prided myself in being as safe as possible. And like I said, most of that stuff I don't do anymore. So hello, get off my ass if I want to talk about my past, because at least I lived to do those things, and I'm here now, and I still got some brain cells left. And as far as I know, I have my health aside from this leg cramps. Man, I hope you don't get leg cramps because they oh fine. And yeah. But I was so glad to have this evening with you all. It really helped me to de-stress a little because I was able to just vent just a little bit about things. And I know that the only real solution is for me to just get the hell out of here. But I want to think clearly. I think it's very important for clear heads to prevail, and I don't want to act in haste and not be conscientious and careful about my safety and my finances. And I just want to do things as responsible as possible and as safe as possible and as ethical as possible and as practical as possible. But again, as cheaply as possible, because that's how it has to be. Okay, I will talk to you guys in video form definitely tomorrow, and I'll go live when it's prudent. I do have some errands to do tomorrow, so I'm probably not going to go live tomorrow also, but you never can tell. I can't make any promises either way, except unless this computer does something fucked up, I will have a video posted for you tomorrow. Okay. You guys have a good night. Get your sleep, get your rest. Be healthy and safe, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.